Hi, it is Tuesday, January the 30th.
It is.
2018.
It is.
Welcome to the Giant Bombcast.
Yes.
Hello.
Hi. Welcome to life.
Yes, we know it.
It's life. We're living it.
Oh, man.
The rest of it is coming up.
Day by day.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're in by minute.
First day of the rest of your podcast.
Well,
Starting
that's
right here.
That's why I'm working on my podcast posture.
Oh, yeah?
It's important
Podcast,
to
sure.
get the shoulders back. Don't hunch over the microphone.
Seriously.
It's not good.
Loosen up.
I like the pose.
Stretch.
You gotta,
Yeah.
I
like to get
broad
in
chest
on
out
that.
there. Boom.
Loosen
Pow.
up your jaw
Let them know.
a little bit.
Yeah, let that jaw pop around. Get that TMJ flowing here.
Work on your
I
embouchure.
wonder, can I pop my jaw into the mic? Will that be too gross for
Yes,
people?
please.
Yes.
Go for it.
Don't do that.
You hear that?
Whoa.
Yeah, there's echo on it.
Ooh. Yeah, that sounded like it was coming over the airwaves.
Yeah.
Or something. What's that sound?
Hello?
Oh,
What?
God. Is there a ghost in here?
Oh, I
Hello?
forgot. We left Ben connected from 2 weeks ago.
Oh, I got
It's just
Are
been
you
a
guys-
Sitting there standing
a
by.
live link.
What you been doing, man? Hi. Sorry
Hello?
about forgetting about you.
I've been here waiting.
Yeah, we were gonna go on a break, and
You said okay, hang around because this was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
You're like, hang around because next week you're gonna be on the whole show. And I waited, and I guess maybe you guys forgot to unmute me or something. 'Cause I've just been
entirely possible. I'm really.
It's been
sorry.
a lot going on around here.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of big video games coming out.
Yeah.
So,
I'd like to have played one of them,
well,
but I just been here.
that's probably fine, I
Well,
guess.
I've been working on my posture though. It's really good right now.
Oh, that's awesome.
Good.
It's important.
We appreciate your vigilance.
Hey, how you healing up, homie?
It's good. I'm doing well. I'm gonna be pretty much fully recovering on Thursday.
Okay. Yeah.
One more doctor's appointment with some post-op
Here's some
shenanigans.
pins
Yeah.
are coming out.
Yeah,
we don't.
yeah.
We
Not
don't
to
need to
get
talk
too
about metal
gross.
coming out of.
What they
his
just like
body.
grab a hold of those things and yank them?
Last time they did them, I didn't look because I didn't want to know, so I have no idea.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Put me in that camp.
Any-
I certainly don't.
You
wanna
get a
know.
you get a local on that, or you just
I think they're just like they just yank.
just here,
give 'em a
bite
quick
down
touch.
on this piece of wood.
They're just going to tie ropes around his ankles to cut off the circulation.
Okay.
And then once things are appropriately numb, just go pow.
I thought you were going to say they were going to tie ropes around the pins and then tie the other end to the back of a car and then
could
drive
work.
drive the car.
I mean, that works too.
And then yeah,
That's, yeah.
I'm an orthopedic surgeon,
yeah.
so I can tell you.
And you're in plan for our health coverage
I'm in,
here.
I'm in network
after
hours.
A nice in-network doctor for late night foot
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, you guys are into any foot stuff.
So you've got the pins coming out in sight. What about keeping yourself busy?
I'll let you know how I've been keeping myself busy. I just read the entirety of the Mr. Satan entry on the Dragon Ball wiki.
Oh no!
A lot of Dragon Ball on the brain. It turns out.
What the hell's going on here?
That game.
I wanted to know what happened to Hercule after I stopped keeping tabs on him. I wanted to know if he was like involved in Super or anything. I learned
you didn't
about
believe in him.
There's an
faded
adult
away.
book called Bob and Margaret that is owned by Master Roshi and Mr. Satan.
Wait,
and it's like the only adult book in the Dragon Ball universe.
Is Master Roshi still in it?
Oh, he's
Is he
hanging
around?
out.
He's not in the game. So I
Yeah, it's not in the game.
I
but
assumed he had been written out. That's one of
By
3 or 4 Dragon Ball characters.
By
I can name.
adult book, that's what I assume, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
From an-
It's Master Roshi
from an
I
adult
gotcha.
bookstore.
yeah,
It made
right.
Majin Buu like horny enough to create a female Majin Buu. It's a whole thing. I'm learning a lot about Dragon Ball, you guys.
it sounds like you're learning a lot about yourself along the way.
Yeah.
I really want to leave the house.
Well, you're days away.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, to preface briefly, both of last week's big games came out on a Friday, which really screws up our podcasting schedule.
Sure.
We've had access to them for a bit
Yeah.
and could not discuss them.
Right.
Yeah, it feels
yeah.
like forever ago.
But now we can talk
started playing that
about
stuff.
Dragon Ball Fighters,
Yeah.
and Monster Hunter World.
Oh man.
Oh, right.
yes.
Yeah.
So let's talk
and
about it.
UFC also,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
less big.
Oh, was that also embargoed?
Yeah.
Huh, I didn't know about that one.
Yeah.
It turns out.
That game's out today.
Oh, okay.
Officially.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we played a little
What
bit.
do you want to talk about first?
Let's talk about that Dragon Ball.
Dragon Ball Fighters is pretty fucking cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Brad, you got
Yeah.
a chance to play it.
Yes, we
on
played
Friday,
some on UPF,
finally.
and then we stopped the stream, and then I immediately said, "Well, you want to play another match or two?"
I was really
automatically
excited
makes
about
it the most interested I've been in a fighting game in like years,
Yeah.
probably.
Well, we've got some footage, on the site. We did a kind of a pre-stream. Well, we did a stream warm up thing in anticipation of a quick look. Quick look went sideways.
Yeah,
Anyway,
we
we do have some footage on the website. So be sure to check that out for sure.
But I might want to play some more of that. I don't know.
I
I have been playing more of it.
That's great.
I haven't really touched the story mode or anything like that yet, but I've just been kind of ducking in for a fight here and there.
I've seen conflicting opinions about the story mode. Either it's boring and bland, or it's super cool. I don't know.
It seems like there's some endearing fan fiction, or not fan fiction, but like fan service. Kind of stuff. But
there's some good jokes in there if you're familiar with the franchise. I personally like the idea that they went for. I guess, Jason, you said this is kind of like this isn't completely new in the Dragon Ball universe, this style of single player?
This style of I'd rather like the Axis, style of like how they present their story is not the way that they present it in Dragon Ball is not up to the high standard actually that I kind of hold like Axis to.
Arxis.
Yeah. Sorry. It's kind of boring. It is kind of trite. It is. Yeah, I'm skipping through a lot of dialogue.
Let me tell you how the story mode opens. Goku opens his eyes and he's there with Bulma, and Bulma's like, "Hi, Goku," and he says, "Who's Goku?" And then you're like, "Oh, great, Goku has amnesia."
Yep.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah. And is it just kind of standard AI fights to move the story along? Nothing out of
tutorial-based stuff at first.
There's like a map that you hop around, and there are different fights, and you have different objectives. Like you might unlock a character by beating this character, or unlock a little brief power-up that'll give you some defense or offense.
But primarily, unlocking new characters is what advances the story, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's like, you're unlocking them for use in the story mode because you're building a team of 3 characters. It's not necessarily like unlocking them across all modes. There's only really 3 characters that are unlockable for those other modes.
Right.
So I don't know. I have not spent a ton of time with that story mode. Yeah, it sounds like opinions are all over the place. Which is weird because I feel like everyone's super unified about Dragon Ball and doesn't want to tell you exactly what you need to do to enjoy Dragon Ball the minute you show the least bit of interest in it.
Which ones to watch?
Yeah,
in what order?
Oh, you're doing it wrong.
No, I mean you have to read the Dragon Ball manga, then watch Dragon Ball, then read the Dragon Ball Z manga, then watch GT, then watch Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah,
so but then like forget everything that you watched about GT because it doesn't matter anymore.
Oh, jeez.
Where does Kai fit into all this? What is it?
Kai is a re-edit of Z.
Wait,
straight up? Is it just
footage?
Recut? Like
same footage, just re-edit?
Wow.
Wait, is it even made by the people or is it made by fans?
No, it's a legit thing. Like they cut up like something like 90 episodes out of it. Because
90 episodes worth or like
90 episodes worth of stuff. So Kai is only like 190 episodes.
Okay.
Yeah. They updated some of the music and a little bit of the voice acting and some of the animation to make it a little more modern as well.
Yeah, and they tightened up a lot of that. I guess like it ends up being more faithful to the manga in the long run.
Okay.
And you lose some like fun, goofy episodes along the way, but by and large, it's kind of viewed as like, hey, here's a more streamlined, more focused take on this story.
They cut out all the fluff so they could get straight to the shooting fireballs into other fireballs.
Yeah,
constantly,
as opposed to just like here's people charging for like 9 hours. That's my understanding of it, I guess.
That sounds like the actual gameplay of Dragon Ball FighterZ as well. It's just like straight up fireballs all the time.
Yeah.
There's so much going on screen. It's a little intimidating at first, for sure, but I think it's pretty easy to jump in.
Yeah, like I didn't touch any tutorials. You guys just sort of rattled off a few tips as I started playing it on Friday, and like by like 5 matches in, I felt like I basically knew what I was doing.
There you go,
like having fun with it.
Yeah, and I think like I'm in like a weird like rut. Like I'm past that stage where I'm just doing auto combos, and I'm like trying to get into the the mechanics and stuff. So I'm getting frustrated with that because I'm terrible, but I think it speaks to like the depth of the game, that there is more than just these, just auto combos on every button.
Yeah. It definitely feels like there's a real system there. And
totally.
It's a tag game and
Marvel style.
Yeah,
3v3.
Marvel style 3v3. And I never really liked Capcom's versus games. I never really liked their tag stuff. Because it ends up being like a little more resource management of like, okay, I need to get this guy out of here because he needs to recover health.
Sure.
And I need to get this other guy in. So it ends up being like, okay, I have to like constantly kind of look up and see where my health is compared to the other characters on my team.
Yep.
And so it's a lot of like extra things you need to know, or at least like be aware of to kind of do well.
They make that easy to see, and I think in this game in particular,
think they super don't.
Really?
I like
the bar counting up.
The bar counting up is good if you notice it, but like I feel like
you'll keep an eye out
those
for it
bars
after a
could
while.
be bigger.
Wait, what does that mean, counting up?
Like the character portraits will fill up as they're getting
refilling.
ready to be tagged in again.
Oh.
So when you can't.
Is there a cooldown?
Yeah, you can't just tag.
Okay,
It's
right.
like tag.
Yeah.
Wait for a meter to fill tag.
Sure.
It's a handful of seconds, but it's not.
It's more than
instantaneous.
traditional Marvel games, I think.
Yeah,
it
I think
feels
you're
like
right.
it anyway.
And then that governs assist usage as well. Like if you're just tapping them in for a quick assist, and so it ends up being like a little bit. Yeah, it's more than I typically go for in a fighting game. But yeah, now that I've kind of just like gone out of my way to be like, all right, I need to keep staring at these meters, and I wish they were like a little more prominent on screen. Now that I've gotten used to that, I think it's fine.
Yeah, and it changes depending on whether or not the opponent is in block stun. It'll take a while for those meters to start refilling, depending on what's going on screen. So it's not like a strict like, hey, 5 seconds later.
Right.
Yeah, it's you got to keep an eye out for it.
It's cool that the auto combo stuff kind of like frees enough of your brain up to focus on the kind of meta strategy layer of when to swap people in and out because you're not. What's that?
Stuff like that, like movement options like air dashes and stuff like that becomes more accessible when you have a reliable damage source that you can just kind of mash out. You can get used to how the game moves and feels and calling your assists and stuff.
And even, like once you kind of start moving out of the auto combo stuff, like execution in that game is very simple. It's all quarter circles. It's not half circles. It's not even any dragon punch motions.
Yeah, everybody has kind of a limited moveset.
Yeah.
One or two main moves, and then everybody's got fireballs.
But at the same time, I feel like characters have the moves they need.
Yeah.
To be viable.
Oh, that's right. You pulled up a move list on Friday, and it's just
like it's one page.
It's a single screen.
It's like Street Fighter 2-esque in that sense of just like, hey, we got fireballs and dragon punches and hurricane kicks. What more do you need? But in this case, it's really just hurricane kick. Well, I guess actually they offload some of that stuff by giving you a dedicated fireball button. That's probably worth mentioning. Yeah, is that there's just a blast button for just shooting at motherfuckers.
But you can still do a fireball motion to get a better fireball.
Right. Yeah. Fireball motion with fireball. It looks good.
What's an example of like a normal combo, like not an auto just mash a single button combo? Like, is it pretty standard Street Fighter-ish? Like
more Marvel-y,
kind of
or like more recently Guilty Gear style stuff. So yeah, you're doing some ground combos. You're doing like a launcher of some sorts, jumping up, hitting him a couple times, maybe doing a double jump in that time, and then finishing with a special move, and then like maybe a super.
Okay.
Or maybe
it goes
like using that
else.
to mask a tag. Launching them up there, so you have like a free tag there.
Sure.
There's you kind of get the options at that point too. Yeah. And the throw has like a. Well, it's like the rush, the throw equivalent is like
a dash-in
you
throw.
do it from a distance because he will dash in and do basically a throw.
Okay, that's why I was not recognizing those as throws when you guys were doing them because you were not like right up on me.
Exactly.
I was like, how is this happening? Also, they don't necessarily look like throws. It's
right.
Right.
You have like a little green burst around the character that initiates it. That's the only really telltale sign. So other than that, it's anticipation, I guess. But, because you can do them in the air and stuff. It's
right. And so you really can fucking catch people off guard in this game when you start working that into your repertoire. It's very easy to just go like, I'm not going to do the throws, but like once you get used to everything that game has to offer, which I feel like I'm there, except I'm not working assists in. I'm not thinking about assists as much as I need to be, and like team makeup on that level.
You'll get there.
And I'm not doing any snapbacks. I'm not like knocking people out.
Yeah.
Because then that's like another
meta layer.
That's another meta layer of like, now I need to be aware of all of their health and go like, he's got one guy who's low, so I need to kick this guy out and force him to tag in the guy who's lower so I can finish him.
Or if he's got one guy that's got a really good assist, you want that guy in so he's not actually doing the assist for the character.
Can you see the health bars of their other people?
Yeah.
Or you have to. Okay, you don't have to remember it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all on screen. So,
but it's surprisingly like digestible. I thought this was going to be just like an extreme fireball mess.
Yeah, for how hyperkinetic and just like explosive and particle filled it is, like it's pretty easy to track and parse what's going on.
Yeah, there's certainly some moments where I'm like, "What the hell is going on?"
But I think I'm at a point now where like I'm pretty sure about what's going on most of the time.
Awesome, which
feels pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I expected this to be like neat, but I did not expect to like it as much as I am.
Like mechanically, it's really sound and accessible and super, super
like
fun.
as much as I love the way Guilty Gear looks, recently anyway, whatever, all along that series has always looked fucking cool for whatever time it's been out. I could never get deep into it. Every character was just bananas. You start, like the systems, the per character stuff that they layer onto it is too much for me to have a great time with it without really getting deep into it. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
And then, when you look at the past of Dragon Ball fighting games, they are fucking terrible.
What?
They are fucking terrible.
They have a heroic lineage.
We will get scientific analysis of these games, and I will prove to you empirically.
Run them through the formula.
We have tests for this.
Yeah, we will test them out. I am confident that the tests will show that the Dragon Ball fighting games are among the worst.
It's pretty much just been Xenoverse for a while, right?
Yeah, there was Xenoverse.
What was the one?
Budokai was
the one people.
I feel like that was the one where people were like, "I like this. This is like getting more true to the formula." But it wasn't like I like this as a fighting game. It was like I like this as a Dragon Ball game. And
this game is fucking awesome though. Like I would
really
sooner
good,
sit down and play this than like Street Fighter V at this point.
Yes, absolutely. I've been playing a lot on PC, and it looks fantastic.
Did you try running at 4K, like proper 4K out of your PC?
I don't feel like hooking those cables up.
Oh,
honestly.
it's not okay.
It's not something I leave hooked up because it's either. There's only one HDMI port on that video card, so it's either Oculus Rift or TV. And I've been doing more VR stuff lately.
Sounds like it runs super well.
Yeah, sounds like it.
So I wonder if you could hit actual playable real 4K.
I have the Xbox One X version as well, so I've seen that running at 4K. Yeah, looks good.
Yeah.
All versions of that game I think look really nice.
Yeah, it's fantastic. As far as like online multiplayer, I haven't done a ton of that, but I'm not hearing the greatest stuff. It's a little convoluted as far as
that's what I've been doing, and it's been okay.
It has been okay.
In my experience, it's been
holding up.
I mean, that's kind of the thing you do, right?
How about like forming like a lobby with your homies?
I don't have homies.
Just get some homies.
No,
but that's where I hear where it kind of.
I bet, because then you're not matchmaking based on fast connections. You're matchmaking based on homie-age.
But no, just getting the lobby and getting the group of people together is a little convoluted.
So lobbies, I mean, that game launched with the same problem that Call of Duty World War II had, where when you launch that game, it tries to force you into, which I guess it was just the multiplayer in World War II that did this, but it would try to force you into a multiplayer area, like a social area.
A hub.
Yeah. And that hub,
a fun hub,
at launch was super overloaded. And it was just a list of full lobbies that was hard to get into. Yeah. And so, like, when I got home Friday night and loaded it up on PC, it was just, each lobby can hold 64 players. And so you go, okay, I'm on the West Coast, and it just lists a bunch of lobbies that are all full. There's no, like, let me join the next available lobby. Right. It's just like I have to go and try to wait for one that's a little empty. And, oh, this one's 63 out of 64. Hit it. Oh, no, this one's full already. And you have to do that dance. Call of Duty was different, where it would just break. When trying to connect to the lobby, and the lobbies were offline for a long time, and now they've patched that to make the lobbies like an optional thing that you go into.
Oh, good.
And so the PC version of Dragon Ball FighterZ took a 2.8 gig patch this morning when I loaded it up. I don't know if it hit last night or when it actually hit, but I launched it. And it did not ask me any region stuff or anything like that. It threw me into something called Auto Join Lobby 01, which, granted, I'm playing on a Monday morning, so it's going to be a little less populated.
Yeah,
but
you got it.
Point being, it got me right into a lobby, and there were a bunch of people in that lobby, and that end of it at least worked.
That's rad.
No one in there was playing ring matches, or like there was no one to have a game with. Everyone was just standing around.
Well, yeah,
but
doing fashion Dragon Ball. Yeah, you can like dress up your avatar and stuff.
Yeah,
and,
that stuff.
I know you're not into it. I'm super into
like it's. I like the idea of like, hey, I want to get a ring match together with friends or strangers or whatever. Like some of the elements of that of like, hey, we're all in this lobby. Why don't we fight each other?
Yeah,
like I like that end of it. But the rest of it is just like a very slow-moving menu. It's like, I'm going to walk over to where the ranked matches take place. Like, fuck that. Just they have shortcuts, but even the shortcuts are longer than if they just had a menu.
Why do you hate hubs So much.
There's nothing to do there.
They're so the little
mean, how much-
characters
to
are
look
cute.
at people's rare Beerus.
You're right.
How much customization or like dress up is there? Because like
There's no dress up.
Oh,
It's
okay.
you unlock
That sucks.
chibi versions of Dragon Ball characters.
they're just like preset characters.
yeah,
You can't.
and they have
There's
different
different
colors,
colors.
and
Okay.
but also it goes deep. Like there's like 9 versions of each character,
Well,
and
sure.
some of them are deep cuts from the series.
Okay.
Of like this one is Torn-gi Goku,
But there's no mix and match of like
That's no
hairstyles. Because like
Oh,
if I could stand around preening in my dumbass Dragon Ball
Yeah.
paraphernalia,
No,
I would be
it's
into
not
it.
that.
But
You could customize your stickers though, and what the stickers say. I
is-
actually like the implementation of the lobby system and better in some of the other like Guilty Gear games. Like they've got fishing and stuff like that, and they've got like an
was it-
actual
was it-
representation of 2 people sitting at an arcade cabinet.
yeah, that was the one
fighting
where you
and
could like
stuff.
play games.
Well, this one's got the visual representation is like there's an arena in the middle of the
Right.
lobby, and like the 2 characters that are fighting look like they're fighting, while the other characters that are waiting are just like stretching off to the side.
That's kind of cool.
So it does have elements of that. Instead of just the arcade machine metaphor.
No fishing.
No fishing though.
No fishing.
Yeah,
But is it pretty much just story mode and like various types of verses?
Yeah.
Or is there anything
there's an
else?
arcade mode.
Okay.
That's like they have multiple routes there. That's how you unlock 2 of the 3 characters, I guess, is by beating arcade mode on like a specific route in arcade mode on hard and getting an A ranking will get you Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Goku,
Oh right.
SSGSS.
Well, right, of course.
Yeah.
Everyone's
Or
favorite.
Vegeta, I guess.
That's weird.
But I don't know. I'm in. I know next to nothing about the franchise Dragon Ball other than what I've absorbed through osmosis through video games.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. same.
But like I'm finding I like a lot of characters in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're just fun to use, and the game looks so goddamn good.
Right.
That when they start busting out supers and
Yeah.
like you see these moves landing and
Yeah.
the dramatic finishes of knocking people through mountains and
Yes.
buildings and shit.
Yes.
Like it's
That happens really frequently.
Yeah.
The supers are like flashy and cinematic, but also fast enough that, that they don't
Yeah.
they don't wear out their welcome. Like it's what is it? Maybe 2 seconds max of like camera pulls out.
Yeah, like camera pulls out and Trunks does his hand
Yeah.
shit, throws up gang signs, and then
Yeah.
everything blows up.
Like it's just enough time for you to feel enough like some tension about whether it's going to land or not.
Yeah.
And then you
Have
find
you
out.
guys gotten any of the dramatic finishes?
Yeah, that's usually like a level 3 super typically at the end of a round, right?
Yeah, it's
or
like
like at the end of a
it's
life bar, I guess. I should
Level
say.
3 supers, and there are some that are character specific. Like if you're
Yes.
Goku fighting Frieza, or Goku fighting Vegeta, or Goku fighting Cell.
And they actually change depending on which character that you're doing it
Yeah,
to.
they have like voice lines. Like,
That's
oh, I
awesome.
finally like. I saw a couple from pre-release.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't come across any of my own, but like there's one where Goku's fighting Frieza on planet Namek, and they like do the lines from the end of the Frieza saga.
That sounds
I
pretty
haven't come
awesome.
across any organically, but it's cool knowing that those are in there.
It seems like there's a great love of the Dragon Ball and what they're doing here, like the level of detail that I wouldn't have expected. I guess.
And it's like speaking as someone who doesn't know that shit, I still feel like you can sense that attention to detail
yes,
along the
right.
way. Like there's some parts of it where you're just like, all right, I don't know, whatever. Like yeah, okay, why is this guy wearing a baseball outfit in the lobby? I don't fucking know.
Whatever, it looks cool.
But yes, that's still cool. Whatever. Yeah, it's really fantastic. Yeah, it's a really great time.
We should play some more of that.
Okay,
okay,
Yeah.
that's good.
yeah, I would happily play more of that.
Let's do it. We should probably play some more Monster Hunter World also.
Yeah.
I can't stop.
Yeah.
I cannot stop playing.
It finally clicked for me after
That's good.
way too much time cycling through weapons and not liking any of them.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
14
avoiding-
different types, and they all play so differently that
Yeah.
it's like you really got to find something that works.
Yeah. Well,
for
I was
you.
specifically avoiding the dual blades because that's what I had played on 3DS and,
Okay.
and knew that I would get tired of them eventually after playing a bunch of them there.
But,
Could not find something else.
you're not alone. Like
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of people that are have been kind of waiting on the wings. They've dabbled in the Monster Huntering, but it's always been on like handhelds, and there's been a barrier to entry, and I think they've removed a lot of those barriers. I guess
Some of them.
Some of them, yeah. I mean, hear me out. Like
Still pretty fucking obtuse in spots.
totally, yeah. This is not like a complete reinvention of the Monster Hunter formula or anything like that. That loot grind is still there.
It is. I guess to be clear, like it is the Monster Hunter formula.
It totally is.
Just with like some edges smoothed down.
It's that form. It's got just better ingredients. How about that? Like they've trimmed down a lot of the fats, as it were. But yeah, they used to bury a lot of, just really obtuse like information. Either it wasn't in the game and you have to seek it out on wikis or your phone apps or something like that. A lot of that stuff is included in the game now.
Yeah.
So I have not found myself, having to seek out outside resources. That's been great. And, when they have done that stuff like, the field research notes, something like that, now I can, when I encounter a new monster, I can go into those notes. I can find out what it's weak to. I can find out what, it's strong with. I can find out the quest rewards, stuff like that. Find out where it's located. I don't even know where to start really with like all of the quality of life improvements.
For me, this is like a pretty simple thing that was one of the early things about previous Monster Hunters that turned me off. And this will sound maybe a little petty, but just giving you infinite whetstones out of the gate in terms of just like, hey, here's the sharpen button, or here's the sharpen thing, instead of I have to go to find these. Like, what I got to find?
Yeah,
more
that was kind of
like sharpness. Like the emphasis on keeping your weapon sharp is a big deal, and then having that be a resource that you have to then like waste a bunch of time, like the downtime in mission on a thing that has a time limit. Like anytime I spent like, oh, I'm out of fucking rocks.
Yep.
Like that just it was one of those things that just drove me away from the game, like from the first minutes.
Yeah, there are certain things that Monster Hunter does that really rubs people the wrong way, and I think it still has those things. And I think that if Monster Hunter was an extreme turnoff to you before, this is not going to be the game for you. But from a vet, like I said, those quality of life improvements have like really, really made things great.
I think the quality of life stuff actually, I mean, but that, to speak to that, like I think that they are, like those quality of life changes have made me able to see Monster Hunter for what it really is.
That's what it is.
Exactly.
Like when you say people who like are 100% against that type of game aren't going to find anything here, that's true. I think people who were Monster Hunter curious, are now able to get in and see it.
Well, yeah, for me it was like I feel like I only became Monster Hunter curious because of this game and what people were saying about the edges being smoothed down a little bit. It was like, okay, if there's gonna be a time for me to give this thing a go, this is the time. And so but yeah, when we got it in, it was before it was out, so there wasn't really a lot of resources. The beta had happened, so people kind of knew some stuff. But I just kind of dove into it and didn't look anything up, and just like, okay, I'm gonna read everything it fucking throws at me. Which I feel like you have to do. A lot of the time.
Some of it is such an info dump, though, that like I feel like I'm gonna forget it 5 minutes later.
Most of it stuck with me. There were a few things around,
and
like
stuff that you can do like right now at that moment.
Right.
And they do kind of lock away some functions to later game stuff. They don't throw everything at you right away. I was talking with Jan earlier, and he started playing, and I mentioned that there is a bit of an info dump in the beginning, but man, if they threw everything at you that you can actually do in that game,
sure,
like right away,
some of it, there are still aspects of that game that just feel like needless complexity to me. Like, there are assigned quests, but then there are investigations, but then there are bounties, and like that would be fine, except that quite a few of those all have the exact same objective.
Or like
there are examples of each of those where the objective is just go hunt a great Jagras.
Or just like, hey, you have to go talk to someone to make your investigations show up on the quest board, which is the thing I keep coming back to. And it's relatively minor once you know that.
Right.
But that was one of those things that they explain, but because they're using the in-game terminology, you're like, I don't actually know what this means.
That's the type of stuff that I'm talking about having a hard time retaining until you do a bunch of it.
Yeah,
is that like, why do I have to register this investigation before I can then pick it up off the quest board?
Exactly.
Like, that just feels like
seems like a needless step.
An arbitrary step that is there because that's how the game has always been.
And then once you see just the number of investigations you start to open up, you start to realize like, oh, I guess I start to see why they would have a separate menu, because like I feel like every mission I go on, you're getting like some pop-up that says exactly, it'll just pop up and say like, hey, investigation, new investigations available. I'm like, wait,
I can check it out. I can seek it out if I want to.
So I see where they're coming from on that. I still think there's a better way to process, like to handle that information.
Gotta be a better way.
But like I spent the first 3 hours just going like, okay, I'm gonna really
focus,
dedicate my time to this and focus on this thing. And it is all completely learnable.
Yeah,
like there are not, and once I feel like once I got over that hump, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, it's kind of like Phantasy Star, but kind of not. And like the gear situation is this, and I need to farm this for this.
Sometimes,
and some of that stuff changes as you get deeper into the game and start unlocking, more spots on the upgrade tree for your weapons, and like, oh, now I'm getting armor sphere pluses, and
the weapon tree. It's so cool. That's something that I think we take for granted in a lot of games, but Monster Hunter has been like so behind the times. It's just kind of set in their own ways.
My memory of
like an inclusion of something like this, like a weapon tree, is just like it's kind of mind blowing.
And the idea that you get your resources back when you downgrade a weapon,
kind of cool.
It seems like for a game that like every single item is a fucking grind.
Yeah.
Like if I had to just like burn those things only to realize like, oh, this weapon is not doing it anymore, that would be bad.
Like going back to like 4U on the
it takes out the sting
on the 3DS or something. It was just kind of like flat lists of weapons, right?
Yeah, totally. And you didn't know whether or not, if
like, they didn't even show you what you could get until you like had stuff to make
that
it. That
tree was still evident, right?
Yeah,
so like it's still forked off at a certain point.
Okay.
You just didn't know when.
Yeah,
but they make it extremely clear.
Yeah,
and
this like shows you very explicit upgrade paths.
Yes,
like ahead of time. I mean, you don't know everything about each step, but
and lets you set a wish list.
Yeah,
as well.
you can start sort of planning for what
stuff.
What you want to build toward.
I need to get Monster Bone M's.
Yeah.
And I can tag that and go like, I need to go get 2 of these things, and then it'll pop up and say like, now you can build the thing you're trying to build. I'm like,
so what you do is you go and you find more bounties that you get you more
go
bones
look in
and
the
stuff
book
like that.
to find out which monsters drop M bones, because right now I'm getting L bones. It's like, oh, I need to go back and fight earlier monsters, get them M's.
And also
the M bone is connected to the L bone.
Yeah,
it turns out.
I can't speak enough about how good the map is as well. You can filter out by the stuff that you can gather, small monsters, which is a big thing now as well. There's been times when I've gone into a Monster Hunter game and they're like, fight 5 of these things, and I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck those are. Right. They do nothing about explaining what they are. So I've got to look it up on our website. Anyway, you can sort through that stuff. So if you need bones now, you can actually look on the map.
I can look and
find out where they are on the map. That's new. And
whether it's the bone piles or the monsters specifically that are going to give me them bones.
Yep.
I just need them bones.
Just need them bones. And it's even easier to find them because you have scout flies now. So you can set a point on the map anywhere. This is an extremely like handholdy thing, but I think it's really, really welcome. I don't even know if you can turn them off. I don't want them off. I really like them.
It's a really good breadcrumb trail that leads you.
Totally.
Like, you can flag whatever you want on the map. So it's like, I need to get to that bone pile.
It'll never feel lost.
The one thing that feels a little sloppy with it is that, I mean, and this is useful in a lot of cases, is the fact that it will also highlight a bunch of collectible type stuff around you. So that kind of obfuscates when it's pointing at the objective you want versus when stuff is just laying. You know what I mean?
I think it kind of zigzags. A little bit. Like it'll scan in like a radius.
Like I almost wish I could turn off the hey, show me everything I can pick up. Just show me where the monster is.
I think visually that gets a little more easier to deal with because when there is like a scatter nut or something that you can go pick up, they're like a little trail, like a blast nut. You know what I'm talking about?
Get the smoke nut.
There'll be a little trail of scout flies, and they're not nearly as dense as like the main.
Yeah, there is a visual difference.
You get used to that.
Yeah. I like the. I almost wish they did more with the like investigation aspect, or like the sort of like filling out your book. That's like your level of knowledge per monster.
Yeah,
because like
that's a little hands off, I guess.
The more you upgrade your knowledge of a monster, the easier it is to track those monsters and find them faster, which is cool.
Yeah, it's definitely in your benefit to to seek out as many tracks as you can. Even if you know where the monster is, just keep getting those tracks because your scout flies will level up, so it'll make it much easier for you to find those monsters on like subsequent.
Yeah, that said, the ecologist screen, I guess that's who you turn in your research to.
I mean, that stuff still happens. Like your scout flies still level up whether or not you.
Well, that's the thing. Like that menu still doesn't make a ton of sense to me because it seems like monsters. You have a level per monster, but then you also have a separate level for scout flies per monster.
Right.
Is like I don't know what the distinction is there.
Yeah,
I'm level 3 on Great Jagras, but my scout flies are only level 1 on it, and I don't know what that means.
Yeah,
I don't even know.
There's still a little bit of stuff in there where you're like, all right, just keep fucking with it, I guess.
Yeah, totally.
Like I think my problem with the game ends up being one of progression, like the way they've the things they want you to do, or the things they want you to care about as you level up. I don't know that I care about enough to keep me going.
I'm even finding some hurdles, some challenges, I guess, especially in like the low rank stuff. And there's actually there's a moment when you go into like high rank, and it's a really jarring experience.
This is like 30 hours in, maybe.
Yeah, 25, 30 hours, and it almost seems like the game's like wrapped up. Like they have a cutscene that just like it kind of feels like an ending of sorts. And then it's like, okay, here's high rank stuff, and you know what? It's the same areas, it's the same monsters, it's the same armor. They're just better stats, and I'm like, Is that
all the story? And now you're just gonna hit these areas?
So you have that Monster Hunter?
So you have seen all the maps and monsters at that point?
I have not seen. No, you haven't.
Oh,
but it kind of seems like it's a really jarring, and I think they dropped the ball with that handoff. But there is a ton of stuff more. This is like kind of where the game begins. I hate using that term. I know, because
this is like when I hit level 20 in Destiny.
Maybe
they were like, now you can play Destiny.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the armor sets that they show you right away are kind of the same, but they don't show you some of the more fun sets of armor, and they don't show you that there's actually new monsters to go check out, new elder dragons. They don't show you that stuff right away. So just like stick through for a little bit after.
I think my issue is more one of there are, what was it, 12 types of weapons, 14?
14.
And you can make those choices at the beginning of the game. You can change anytime you want. But, like I went dual blades after I tried like 5 or 6 different weapons, and I was like, dual blades seems like the thing for me right now.
Okay.
And the close second was switch axe. That's the thing I want to mess with.
That's what I'm on.
When I eventually get totally bored with dual blades.
Yeah.
But, like I'm upgrading these dual blades. There's no difference, it's not like, hey, they're like the animation changes up, or hey, there's no like extra like visual effects
with those.
Yeah, I was wondering if
because they're really small, I'm sure that's part of it. But like, I feel like the weapons don't necessarily like. As I'm upgrading weapons, does the combat?
I was going to ask, does every version, or do all the different versions of a given weapon have different movesets, or they're all exactly the same?
Or the movesets
like I'm saying, there are 14 weapons in this game,
pretty much the same. Yeah, you'll be sticking with that.
But what I mean is like you've got like standard dual blades, you've got like bone dual blades,
right?
Like I forget what some of
it's a visual difference that has,
that
stats.
I mean, there's
stats.
Stats
there's elemental stats and stuff too,
but it's the same combos.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, those are the same.
Okay.
And I think in those early parts of the game, the visual differences don't change that much.
Yeah.
And that's not great.
And like I'm getting new armor and it's
but
leveling
it does
up, and
eventually they change pretty significantly.
Like from a gameplay perspective, because that's what I'm looking for
Visually.
See that
from gameplay, like what else do you want it to do? Like, do you want to like unlock new moves?
I feel like I would,
or do you want that stuff from the get-go?
I would almost rather have a more limited set of weapons available at the start and have you grow into
using different types.
Grow into different types. Which with the way they've got the types, I don't think it works. I don't think it works with the way that game is built. But
they used to.
I want to feel like I've accomplished something, and I'm not. Like I'm upgrading the weapons and the numbers go up,
right?
And I'm upgrading my armor and the numbers go up. And I don't think any of the armor I've had so far looks like amazing.
Yeah, I don't
like the Palico armor is fucking fantastic.
Those are good.
Like those cats look good.
But yeah, I do not love the armor design.
Brad, I'm gonna show you some stuff.
I really like the armor.
There's some late game stuff that I've seen too where you're just like, oh, that's awesome. But like, again, it's a visual thing. I don't with different elemental numbers.
I guess it's all a matter of taste. I don't love like organic and bony looking shit in games. Like I hated the hive gear in Destiny 2. Like I want cool sci-fi sleek stuff. This game does not have a ton of that. Sort of thing.
Yeah, not at first. Yeah, and that's like I said, that's a detriment. Something that I don't like. They don't surface that stuff early enough.
And I think the thing I'm looking for is something that evolves the
way you
gameplay.
play. Yeah.
A little bit more than it does. And so like, it feels like and I'm still low rank, I played like 15 hours, something like that. And every fight has been largely the same. Sometimes the monster can fly. So, using dual blades, I have to be a little more picky because I can't just hammer them out of the air because I don't have the reach,
Yeah, exactly.
So
sometimes you
there's
use the environment. Sometimes you've got to use, your sling ammo.
Yeah.
I think,
or just wait for them to land and stick them. It's not, it doesn't like the monster to monster does not feel like a dramatic change so far.
I mean, if you're oversimplifying it to the point where you're just hitting it to kill it, then combat's going to be the same, I think, every time.
Yeah,
but
if I'm trying to break stuff off and cut tails and stuff, that's a little different.
That is a little different. And sometimes I am doing that.
Yeah.
Or, sometimes if I'm in a specific area that I can use the environment, that changes things up drastically as well. To me anyway. So I guess I'm looking at more of the subtlety and nuance.
And that stuff's there. It just doesn't feel like it is rewarding on its own, other than just like, hey, you have more windows to do damage because you're taking advantage of more parts of the environment.
I think that stuff is like visually satisfying as well. When you're running up a wall, jumping off of it, and then landing and mounting a monster, that's exciting.
Mounting's rad. Like the 2 times I've done it, it's been some of the best shit I've done in that game. It's like, oh fuck yeah, I'm on this thing, and I'm not doing a ton of damage along the way, but I'm on that thing.
Right.
That's why you got to use that insect glaive. I'm mounting monsters left and right.
Yeah, that does
He's
sound.
flying through the air.
That stuff does sound.
It seems
fun.
like the higher level, more complicated weapons would be the ones that have a little more variety when you upgrade them. That's my guess. Like, because I guess the glaive gets different insects, right?
Yeah,
like,
totally.
with
Yeah,
different
there's
functions
lots of stuff to play with.
But like, so what are those functions? What does that change?
I went into the training. Also, the training area is shit in this game for weapons.
That is
bullshit.
No, there's not
even
even like a dummy monster in there for you to like build up charge on.
Yes, there is. There's the big column, and it's got like skin
Why don't they say
around it.
Yeah,
because it's the biggest column in the middle of the screen.
Because they let you target all the barrels in that area, and I hit them, and that wasn't doing it. And I was like, well, this place sucks. Like,
yeah, that training area is dumb. You should be able to practice.
It is not
the
dumb. They give you
onboarding.
every option.
The onboarding is.
I probably spent at the beginning of the game, since I didn't have a weapon picked out, like I probably spent an hour or so in there trying out different weapons and trying out different combo strings and figuring out like, okay, well, like.
Those different barrels give you different types of those are different types of skins essentially. Okay, there's a big column that you can use to like charge up your charge blade. You hit it and it does it. I don't know what.
I don't typically assume that a big tree is the thing I should be practicing my weapon.
The one
on.
that's wrapped in like lizard skin.
I mean, I bypassed all that stuff.
I figured that one out, but I still was like, I can't practice any of these like heavy movement based combos.
Yeah.
Do they just need to shape it like a monster? Is that better? I don't get it.
I don't know. I solved that problem by going out and doing quests with weapons to see what I liked. But
I really like the training.
So like an example, like the switch axe, this is super basic, but it has an element discharge and the different types of, like I went from the regular one to the Jagras switch axe, and that has a different element,
Right.
which is a slightly different ability. It's not hugely different, but like that's at least a little variation in the way you use it.
Yeah, and you know, a personal thing with me is that like elemental protections and resistances and stuff is like one of my least favorite things.
Well, this
in
is
a
either
game
this
to,
is
like,
either shooting fire or lightning out of your sword, so that's pretty cool. But it's still a pretty minor combat
there's a good
difference.
visual difference. Yeah,
and I think the way it like procs or the way it
Yeah.
it spits out the element is a little different, but it's not. A
But
huge
seeing
change.
like as I level up, it's more and more of just like, oh, this I don't even know what the affinity ranking is, but this one's minus 20%. That's probably bad. And I've got like 20 thunder, and you know, like
stats.
Having to compare the resistances of the monster to the weapons I have is not what I'm looking for in a lot of
always
games.
been my impression of Monster Hunter is that it does descend into a level of minutia that I don't want to deal with.
That's
so I'm kind of with you
that's
on that.
probably where I'm out, is when that stuff becomes super vital, but it hasn't. I mean, I'm just upgrading my weapon,
and it may or may not.
Yeah,
you know, like there's kind of like a middle of the road. You know, a lot of the metal weapons are just kind of like, you know, they don't offer a lot of bonuses, but they don't have a lot of negatives as well. So you could, you know, just kind of stick with those if you want to as well.
My biggest bummer with the game comes with the multiplayer stuff.
Yeah, I saw you
some backward shit going
playing
on
with some people online. I was going to ask you how that stuff is.
So the weird part about this game, and I sort of, in a really roundabout way, understand why they would make this, is let's say I'm playing with Jason, who is much higher level than me. He's gone through much of the story, and he wants to help me hunt a monster. He has to wait until I find the monster and see the cutscene for it before he can enter the game. And then he doesn't even enter on me, enters on a camp, and has to make his way over to me halfway through the fight.
What cutscene do you? Is that if you're doing a story quest?
When
it's the first time you've seen the monster?
Just the first time you see the monster. So yeah. Provided you've seen the cutscene, any other time that you go into that mission, you won't see the cutscene.
So basically, playing the story with other people is a pain.
That is totally backwards.
It requires them to constantly jump in and out of your game.
Yep.
Which
weird.
Is a bummer.
Or once you do see that cutscene, you can immediately fire like an SOS flare and either have a random jump in, or if you're in a private
like
room
session.
I think that works as well. But I haven't encountered a ton, because I know that that's a hurdle to like jump through. It hasn't been too much of an impact.
If there are two players who haven't played that story mission, can they do it?
I don't know.
Okay,
I don't know.
Some of the framework around like launching missions and doing multiplayer is just, it all feels a little archaic. You know, it's like even when I'm playing by myself, I have to set a number of players every time I pick up a quest and like wait at a loading screen where other people could join. Even though I'm playing alone. Like when you do story quests, it'll port you straight back to the base. But if you're doing like an expedition,
if you had started a private session instead of hitting matchmake at the outset, some of that stuff gets a little streamlined.
On the quest, or when I very first load
you
my
very
character.
first load
So
your
you can also go offline to like.
So I haven't seen an offline option. Like there
is. I just keep it on, and the only time that it ever affects me is when you're selecting the number of players. But yeah.
You just set your party to one player, and that counts as offline, or how does that work?
Essentially. But yeah, there's an actual offline mode.
But I've only gotten into that when the servers were down.
Out. Oh, really?
When the servers were down, it was like, hey, the servers are down. Do you want to play offline? And I was like, yeah, totally. But
it exists.
I couldn't find it otherwise.
But otherwise, yeah, it is super convoluted as far as. All right, so you've got your lobby, right? It's 16 people or something like that.
Is that the gathering hub or whatever it is?
Essentially, actually,
that's
where it gets
separate?
no. Well, it's not. It's not separate. It's confusing. So yeah, the lobby session is all of Astera there, right? So that includes the gathering hub. You're only going to see other people if you're up in the gathering hub. That's where it gets super confusing. Because people are down on the main floor. That's where they're like posting their jobs and stuff. But it's like other people can't see that. And stuff.
Okay, because you get like join and leave messages even though you don't see people running around, which is just...
I see people running around
down
like the other floors, workshops and stuff like that. Like I see other human players.
I haven't
other
seen any of
human
that
players.
I would like to see that.
I've seen a player running out of the workshop and running. Yes,
like I would love to.
There's a bunch of NPCs. Like
I mean, this version was like running.
Okay.
Like human running. I swear it.
Like I want to see other people's armor and stuff. I would like to see them running around, but I haven't yet.
That's gonna happen up in the main gathering hall up top, where you can arm wrestle. Big table.
Yeah.
Oh man, you can drink to your heart's delight.
Game's got great personality.
It really does, and I was afraid that they were going to get rid of that.
The arm wrestling and your cat like rows a little rowboat when you're in the water, and like there's a pig in a sweater that you can pet. You can pet in the hub
and you can get pets.
Like,
you can get pets and bring them back to your room. So yeah, when
Huh.
you're out in the field, you can. There's a net
capture net.
Shoot. Yeah, capture net. Shoot at a dung beetle. Send it back to your house. Fill your house with dung
I
beetles.
don't want a dung beetle in my house.
I know.
Here's the surprise, though. They're already there. They're living inside your cable modem.
So when I first initially saw trailers for this, I was afraid that they were going to get rid of a bunch of the charm of the Monster Hunter series. It's fully intact. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah.
And I've been pretty excited about feeling like I have a firm grasp of what this thing is, and like still enjoying it.
Right.
Like there are things about it that I look at and go like, okay, I don't
might
know.
not be for you.
This is probably not for me long term, but I'm still having a pretty good time with it.
You might have a better time in multiplayer. A lot of people like only do multiplayer.
Yeah,
I do a lot of solo stuff. Like I spent like an hour or two just doing expeditions last night, and it was the most chill, like just fun experience. Like I really enjoyed it.
I will say it's fun to try to maximize efficiency when you're doing stuff like that. Like looking at all right, here's the investigations I got and the bounties, and like here's the story stuff or the side quests. Like how many? Basically, it's fun to say like how many of these things can I stack on top of each other and go out and do. Like that's really nice.
I've got 3 different bounties for picking up mushrooms, so I'll just ring them all up at once.
Totally.
Yeah.
But that stuff is completely optional as well.
Yeah.
Like you don't feel like intimidated by
Well,
that stuff.
it's a good way to get.
Don't get overwhelmed.
It's a good way to get resources, right?
Totally. Yeah. If you want to,
And
if you want that,
you get an
level
armor
of-
sphere for each one of those you complete.
Should I be using those liberally? I haven't used one yet because I was afraid they were going to be hard to come by.
Find one good set in low rank stuff. Yeah. Armor sphere it up if you want, but once you hit high rank, that's when you start getting like different types of armor spheres.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
Yeah, you're gonna. Yeah,
but like I've spent them on whatever armor I've been wearing and never had a shortage because you get them for completing just about everything.
Okay.
You'll get like one.
Okay.
They start dropping off of monsters too.
Yep.
Sometimes.
Yeah, you'll get them in quests and stuff.
And seeing some of the ways that they mitigate, like the random nature of okay, I got to grind out against this monster because I need this one thing. It drops, but it doesn't necessarily drop it every time.
Right.
Like seeing like the lucky vouchers in there.
Yeah,
there's like a daily login bonus.
Yeah.
So like either I think it like guarantees it at that point.
Yeah. And there's even like a.
And then eventually you can just buy parts from the hub, right? With like research
those parts,
points.
not necessarily. So there's like an item melder where you can like trade items to get like that rare Rathian
Trade
plate or something
like
that.
mats.
Yeah.
Okay, because I've got so many Jagras parts at this point, and I was wondering if there's like a place to sync those at some point.
Kind of, yeah. Like, if you're looking for like this is an example, but like a Rathian plate, you need like a special commendation or steel Wyverian print, which you can get from doing another kind of quest, or you can use. hold on. Oh, jeez, it's not that bad. It's really not that bad. Or you can, turn in a bunch of iron ore or something like that.
Yeah.
So,
so options is the point. I mean,
way more options than there used to be.
Yeah.
I remember, in the old days, not monster hunting. I'm having to grind a lot less now.
Yeah,
which is great.
Yeah, it seems very well made.
That's fun. Yeah.
Yeah, they've. It's weird.
Satisfying.
It's weird seeing a lot of it. It's great, I guess. Seeing a lot of people that are really enjoying it now. That. That are getting it now, I think.
Right.
And it's because they trimmed out a bunch of that stuff. And it's also really nice to see that the game itself hasn't changed to the point where, it's going to really alienate a lot of, fans of the series. They're doing great stuff with it. This is not a brand new Monster Hunter.
No, it's definitely not.
For sure. But
and like the thing I would want to see in the future, which they probably will never do, is like a more modern reworking of the quest structure. Like that whole framework of like,
I could see them.
Here's what changed with that shit.
So
in previous Monster Hunters, you in order to progress a storyline, you would have to go through a certain key quests, right?
Yeah, I remember
they
that.
Were never labeled as such. You never knew exactly which ones were key quests or not. And now they just they offer that stuff.
Yeah,
it's like the end of Phantom Pain or something.
It's getting a lot better.
You're right. It is very clear now which ones are the story quests that will move things forward. But I'm talking more just like the whole framework of loading into the hub to pick up a quest. Like you can only hold one quest at a time, then loading back out to the thing. Like what if that whole thing was just like one big area, like a modern open world game where you have a bunch of different quests at one time. And
this seems like this could, this seems like it's doing well, right? I mean, it seems like it's catching on here in a way that previous games have in the franchise have definitely not. It's the thing we've always said is like, oh man, this thing's huge in Japan. What's it going to take for them to make it work over here? Like it seems like they've made a lot of that. They've built that framework.
Yeah,
they've built that MT framework. And so where they go from here, I think, is interesting because if they've got a fan base here now that likes the basics, they really could use this as a launching off point for like a more grand undertaking of like, okay, here's what we're going to do to Monster Hunter from here.
Right.
Yeah. I was not expecting this big of a leap. Like I was perfectly content with like a Switch version of like the normal Monster Hunter that we've been playing.
I guess
for years.
From what I've seen of the older ones, like it feels evolved in the small details, but not necessarily the broad structure.
Right.
Like,
and
I wish it wasn't
really
quite so
appreciative of
so compartmentalized. I would like it to be a little more open and like I would like to just like hang out in the world for a couple hours and do stuff instead of having to keep going back and forth.
Expeditions are for.
But expeditions you can't necessally take on like your main quests if you're out there, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Just like I'm going to go out there, and you can stay out there for a long time and knock out all your secondary and tertiary stuff, but it's not necessarily going to be like where you live.
It's still it's a little regimented in a way that feels like it started on the PS2,
right?
But area size, even in some ways. I mean, I guess they don't have loading times between areas now.
Yeah, that's a huge thing.
That's another
because the big thing was like it was annoying to hit load screens every 30 seconds, but the big problem was you'd be fighting a monster right on the border of a zone, and then it would just vanish in front of you because it had hit the border, and then you couldn't hit it anymore.
Yeah,
like it was just a pain. So that is a huge improvement right there.
Yeah, lack of loading between screens. So there's just a handful of maps this time, but you're not forced to load between zones.
Do you think
I think they're smaller in.
They seem a little smaller,
but I think because there's such a verticality to all of these levels. There's usually like 2 to 3 like levels worth of zone packed in there. It's far more dense. There's far more nooks and crannies, I think. Yeah. It was a little off-putting at first.
Do you think they introduce what does DLC for a Monster Hunter game typically look like?
Typically, it is you're going to get some like arena quests or something like that for either specific costumes. That's primarily what that DLC looks for, and they have a really really good reputation of providing a ton of free DLC.
I was just about to look that up. I thought I saw that they were doing the whole, like following the kind of current trend of making all the content, the DLC content free.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at it in terms of just like, you've got this number of zones.
Yep.
Like,
traditionally,
could you tack a zone and some new monsters onto this game?
You're going to see new monsters, whether they're variants of existing ones. That's certainly a possibility.
Yeah, here's a story on GameSpot. Monster Hunter World will add new monsters as free DLC.
Yeah,
okay.
That's
pretty standard then.
Devil Joe's already been announced.
Yeah,
but I mean he's not brand new. But,
right.
He's going to be coming in as DLC.
I saw they got their Street Fighter crossover stuff coming.
It's like Mega Man Palico armor is coming.
Yep. Also, not new. They've had lots of tie-ins.
The first quest for the Horizon, the PS4 exclusive Horizon costume stuff is in there, but it's only in there until the 8th of February.
Right.
Which seems really weird to me.
It goes in stages. So right now you can get the Palico stuff, and I think after that you'll be able to get the Aloy.
Right.
How do they mark that as like, hey, here's the thing? Is it just,
I don't know. I
haven't
haven't
know the
seen
quest
it yet.
name?
If you go to your like bonus box in your house, it'll say the name of the Horizon quest.
Right.
But I forget what it is, and I haven't found the actual quest in a way I can pick it up.
When you log in, check your daily bonuses. That's kind of like a news area as well. It'll say, hey, these events are available. All of the special stuff like that is going to be found under events. So you've got your you've got your assigned optional investigations, and then
So I have not played a ton of it since it hit release. Like I mostly played pre-release.
Yeah,
so
those weren't available right away.
I just need to go in there and do that stuff, I guess.
Yeah, and the Palico one is super easy. I think you might have to run it 2-3 times to get enough.
To get all the stuff.
Do you have
pieces?
Palico armor now?
I do.
Oh, wow.
It looks rad.
I just saw a picture of it. I have to go get that.
It's really cool. It's not bad for like starting stuff too.
Really good character creator. Like
the character the faces, like the character models in that creator are really, really good.
They don't map 1-to-1 to some of the cutscenes, but
yeah.
I've seen a lot of screenshots from Japanese Twitter coming out of people matching their cat with the Palicos perfectly.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you can customize your cat.
That's good.
He has a raft because he hates water.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love him.
Game's pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh, there's
good.
There's so many things that you can do with your Palico as well. The Grimalkin quest. So you can get. You start off with like the Vigor Spray. That's like a healing thing. You can call for that, or he just like kind of throws them out randomly.
Oh, I didn't know you could use it manually.
Yeah, there's other like sub quests that you can go on to get different types of weapons and different types of skills for those guys. I'm still finding things in this game that I had no idea.
Yeah. Cool.
I'm going to be playing this for a long-ass time.
Excellent.
I'm in love with this game.
Yeah, me too. Well, I will play a lot of it too.
Oh, boy.
All right. You guys want to take a quick break?
Yeah, or we can talk about Monster Hunter some more.
You good? About it during the break?
All right.
Okay. All right.
I'll talk to myself.
We'll be right back.
This podcast is brought to you in part by Netflix's new original series, Altered Carbon. I've got a question for you.
What's that?
What does it mean to truly live forever?
That sounds like a hell of your own making.
Exactly.
Just a planet of increasingly growing population of people.
Do you think, like, if you were
shoulder to shoulder?
So if you were definitely going to live forever and everyone else was, and when when the food ran out, would it just be like, here's a bunch of immortal people that are
that's a good question.
Too starving to move?
Can you starve to death if you're immortal?
I don't know.
Do you just
I don't know.
I don't like the mechanics of this question.
No, we would have to ask Richard K. Morgan, because this is Altered Carbon. It's based on his cyberpunk novel of the same name, a hard-boiled detective noir set 300 years in the future in Bay City, or modern-day San Francisco.
Oh, that's here.
Yeah.
Bay Area.
Bay City, modern-day. Yeah, that's it's already a hellhole here.
Is it just going to keep? It's going to keep growing outward until it's all one gigantic.
I guess
city.
I guess so. It's Bay City is a visually stunning and tech-obsessed world wherein society has been transformed by technological advances in immortality. Okay, get this. All right, I'm gonna break it down for you. Here's how it works here, and maybe the food thing is solved here. A human being's mind can now be digitized and downloaded into a cortical stack at the base of the brain, so bodies, known as sleeves, are interchangeable.
Huh.
So yeah, if you're,
is it still you though? Did they play Soma?
That's the question, man.
That's deep.
Yeah. So yeah, you're kind of reduced to data and injected into these sleeves and all that sort of stuff.
Give myself a new sleeve on the way home.
Yeah. And for those rich enough to make copies of themselves, death is no longer a given. So kind of backing up your clone. You get a USB thumb drive and stick it into your
right in the back of the neck.
I don't know.
Johnny Demonic style.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Gotta get the. Eternal life for those who can afford it means eternal control for those who can't.
Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah. No, that's yes. That sounds
true
like
to life.
That sounds like a cyberpunk scenario to me. And then we've got a slogan here, a tagline, a catchphrase. Are you ready for it?
Huh?
But nobody lives forever.
That, you see, it's like that could go one of
They've written it
multiple ways.
in 2 words, so it's
Yeah.
no body
Yeah,
lives forever.
It's a double meaning.
Exactly. Altered Carbon begins streaming February 2nd only on Netflix.
I'd watch that.
Okay.
Check that out.
Okay.
Ben, what's up with Celeste?
Celeste, boy, howdy. It's a really good video game.
Yes.
It's also a great single-serve pizza.
Whoa.
I don't know if I'd say great.
It's 150 grams of pizza. You can't go wrong with that.
What if you had 300 grams of pizza?
Yeah, see, I
Well, then
need-
that's pizza
I need
to
more than
share.
150 grams of pizza in my life.
Everybody thoughts on party pizzas real quick? Totino's? Delicious.
I like a Red Baron.
Nah.
Usually go for DiGiorno's.
Yo, you take a party pizza, right?
Okay.
You put it in the microwave for a little bit, kind of thaw it out, and then you roll it up like a big ass pizza roll. Throw it in the toaster oven, crisp it up. You have the biggest pizza roll you've ever seen.
Cook all the way through?
Yeah.
But what if you also put some mac and cheese on top of it before you rolled it up?
Well, then you're committing a sin, and no, that's gross.
Well, guess what? I'm gonna
No.
enjoy hell.
Ugh.
But what I'll enjoy even more is replaying Celeste.
Replaying?
On the
You beat
personal
it?
computer. So Celeste is it's a platformer, a la Super Meat Boy,
So one
let's
of those-
say, but
one of
maybe
those
a little less
punishing
intense.
Okay.
It's-
Precision based.
Yeah,
right.
so it's very simple controls. You have directional movement. You have an air dash that you can use once before you touch the ground again, and a wall climb.
Okay, good.
And then it does the thing where kind of each world will have a different spin on that mechanic. Like this is the world where it shows you that there are these little black pillars that you can dash through, but you have to maintain your direction. So it's all about kind of hitting the right angles and stuff. Or another one might give you a little feather that gives you kind of a hover for a little while that you have to incorporate.
Yeah, I played through just the first chapter, and the mechanic there is like some screens have like a little hovering power-up where if you touch it, it refreshes your air dash without you touching the ground.
Yeah,
So
like
that one's universal.
Oh, is
the
it?
big
Okay.
thing they are teaching you in that world is about like the momentum stuff, because like you're jumping off of little machines that move rapidly, and you can kind of carry your momentum through on those jumps.
Get a big boost off of those things.
Yeah. I really, really, really am surprised by how much I enjoyed this game. It's from Matt Thorson, who people may know from Towerfall. That was his last game.
Noted Ouya developer.
Yeah, that's right. Kind of the man that really brought the Ouya to the forefront of the American public. But yeah, so it's got very simple controls, very well designed levels. It has a really good story. I keep saying really. It has a very good story.
Oh, perfect. There you go.
That is, it gave me Braid vibes. A lot
Okay.
of this game actually gave me really heavy Braid feelings
Interesting.
from how it tells its story to some of the collectibles in there. In terms of collectibles, there's stuff that are visible right like around the levels, like little strawberries, and they're just kind of randomly pop up in screens, and they're a challenge to get to. You have to dash around or do something strange to get
if they're in
them.
season or not. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Strawberries can be tough.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny, after you beat the first world, it says like, oh, these strawberries don't do anything. So it's very much just like those are there to kind of, if you want to collect them, you can.
Is it unlocking anything as far as no?
So I don't think those are, but then there are some other hidden things. There are B-sides, which there's one in each world, and they're basically a much harder version of that world that you can play through. And then I recently discovered, going through and trying to kind of get all the strawberries, because I've beaten the main quest, there are items in the world that are very well hidden. They remind me kind of the stars from Braid. You remember there's one in each world, and you really had to kind of think outside of the box to get them. And those will unlock something. There is kind of an end game teaser after you beat the game. There's kind of one more level that opens up, and you get there, and it told me the round isn't ready for me yet. So that's kind of the plot of the game. Is you're a young girl named Madeline who wants to climb this mountain, and she doesn't really get into why she's there or what's special about the mountain, but
it's all about the
story kind of unravels along the way as you meet more people who are interested in this mountain, or kind of there's some people who live around the mountain.
How's the soundtrack been treating you?
The soundtrack's really good.
That's what I hear.
It's a disaster piece, isn't it? The Fez.
It's friend of the site, Lena.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah. All the tracks are good, and then all the B-sides kind of have a remix of the world music. That all of those are really, really stellar. It's just one of the most surprising games. It kind of came out of nowhere. He emailed us some codes, and I figured, I like platformers, I like Towerfall, I'll check it out. And I beat it over 2 sessions.
Wow.
It took about
how many chapters?
12 hours. I think 7 chapters.
8 chapters, and then there's that hidden one you were talking about, Ben.
So
yeah, 9.
So 9 total.
Okay.
Yeah. So I finished with about 12 hours and 1,100 deaths.
Yeah.
And then I played my first B-side and racked up another 400 deaths. You can watch that on the site. I put up a little video of me playing the first B-side
cool.
if you want to see some of the harder.
Is that the first chapter?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the one I played. I found it to be pretty puzzle oriented, as opposed to
really?
Meat Boy is very Twitch, but this game is a lot more I get to a new screen and kind of look at the layout of everything and try to piece together what series of sort of jumps and climbs and dashes they wanted me to do.
There are in fact some levels where there's a pair of binoculars at the start of it, so you can look at the whole. You can just kind of scroll around and look at the whole level.
That's
and
cool.
Map it out.
That's really nice. And instead of just getting to an area, it's oh shit, what do I do now? Twitch dead.
Right. Yeah.
Speaking of deaths,
You can do it that way too, but you'll die a lot. That way.
Speaking of dying, how quick is it to throw you back in? Is it super?
much
You blow up like Mega Man, and then you're back at the start of the level.
Okay.
Have you tried the assist mode at all, Ben? Have you messed with that at all, or just?
Oh, I didn't even know what that is.
Yeah, so the assist mode, you can kind of turn on invulnerability or add multiple dashes. It's kind of
or slow the game down.
Affect the game speed, just so if it's going a little bit too fast, or you can turn it on and off at will if you're in a tough spot or you just can't figure out what's going on. Try it out a couple times.
The back half of a level, you got the first half of it down, but then you want to just mess with it. That's cool.
Yeah. It's also just fun to okay, I wish I could have a second dash, and then it helps. It adds that on top of that.
Does it penalize you at all for you don't get credit for finishing a level or anything weird like that?
I only use it to complete a couple rooms. I didn't use it to complete a chapter, but from the offset, I didn't see it penalizing
no strawberries for you.
Yeah, looking at the text that they associate with it, it doesn't seem like it would penalize you.
It's just kind of hey, if you want to use this, feel free.
Right.
Yeah.
It's hey, cool. You don't need, it's but if you need this, it's here. It's a very friendly way to say hey, here's
to feel good about
here's
yourself.
we kind of built in some cheats almost. Yeah. It reminds me of VVVVVV, which had some similar options. They treated it almost as accessibility options in a way of just hey, you can stand on spikes now in that game. So this is, this reminded me of that a little bit.
Yeah. Are there a lot of optional routes? Because I felt in that first chapter there were maybe 2 or 3 screens that I missed. It looked like places I could have gone off a different side of the screen to find another board or whatever and didn't do.
Yeah, those will usually have just collectibles.
Okay.
Those berries or the other stuff. But I had the same thing where I kind of went through and I felt maybe I'm on a branching path, because you don't some levels you can't go back. But then when you are going through and trying to do collection stuff like I am, they give you options to jump in at random parts of the chapter. Like they call them different chapters within the chapters. And there's certain checkpoints, and they'll tell you, this first area has 6 strawberries, and this second area has 8 strawberries in the B side, and so you can kind of go in through without replaying the whole level.
No, that sounds helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I can't overstate enough how much I enjoyed the story, which I was probably the most surprised by. I fully believed that the man who made Towerfall could make a tight-feeling platformer just based on how Towerfall plays. But it affected me in a way I wasn't quite expecting, and I really enjoyed. And, it's out on Switch and PS4. I've heard some people talk a little bit of mess about the D-pad on the Switch.
It's not the worst. There's been a couple times where I wish the diagonals were a little bit easier to hit, but the cardinal directions.
Well, there's I mean, I think it's like some Pro controllers will just not register the presses correctly.
The D-pad on the original model of the Pro controller is not great.
Weird.
It can what it is
it's like if you push right, sometimes it'll hit up.
Yes,
also,
exactly. It'll detect up or down on the laterals.
Yeah, the D-pad on the Pro controller.
Supposedly, this is totally random, but supposedly the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 version of the Pro controller has like a slightly modified D-pad where they're trying to fix that, which is kind of a shame for everybody who bought Pro controllers already. But
that was frustrating when I discovered mine doing that. All of a sudden, I was like,
we'll do that here and there.
That's a real hassle.
That's a design flaw.
Yeah. It's also on PC. I was playing on PS4, but yeah.
Speaking of controllers,
and it's on Xbox.
Go get one of those 8-bit the FC30s or something. They got the analog sticks. They have the Super Nintendo. Great D-pad on that. Sorry.
Or just plug a DualShock or an Xbox controller into your PC.
Yeah.
I had kind of a bummer thing where I was playing through with my Xbox Elite controller, and it stopped working, so I had to switch to a different 360 controller that felt just a little bit different, but it was just enough to make me kind of start missing jumps and stuff I might otherwise.
Weird. Yeah.
Cool. Well, that game is neat.
Yeah.
I'm going to play more of it. I think we're going to release you now.
I will return to the tubes and
before you get devil voice, we have to.
That's right.
We only have a certain.
I have a priest on hand just in case.
Ever-present danger.
But I'll be seeing you guys soon.
Yeah. Get you in here. Do some stuff.
Yes.
All right.
Matter of days here.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks.
Bye, Ben. Bye, Ben.
Bye.
All right. Before we move on to news, we should talk about Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
We played a
I
lot
haven't
of Sea of
seen
Thieves.
much of any of this. So tell me.
We played a bunch of the beta yesterday.
Did we? I know we
Yes.
we
It was like
played
2.5 hours.
We played like 2.5 hours, but I feel like
You don't remember
content
what we
wise
did?
we didn't see much. We sailed around and did some shit. We did a quest. We started on another one.
Yeah.
I feel less certain about what that game is in some ways after having played
with
it.
you.
But I had a good time doing it.
Yeah.
It
question,
seems like beautiful, like graphically,
It looks amazing.
visually, it's really great.
Yeah.
Just the lighting, like the sunsets and sunrises, and the
water, the way
and
the waves roll and the pitches the ship
just
around.
fucking
It
incredible.
looks absolutely amazing. And I really like working with people to move that ship around.
That's the
I
part.
had fun time with that.
I will grant you, I was spending most of my time drinking and not making the boat move. Someone needed to play music. It seems like moving the boat is a 3-person job, which almost seems deliberate. In terms, if you were like very fast action, like, hey, we need to turn this boat now, we need to do this. Like, there's definitely jobs for a 4th person.
Yeah, on that big on the 4-player ship, if you want maximum speed all the time, you should have people angling all 3 of the sails into the wind as much as possible.
Yeah, but like one person can kind of do that if things aren't intense.
Yeah, you can get by.
Which left me a lot of time to play some music and make sure that there was no alcohol left on board.
Awesome. Important pirate duties.
Yeah, so I got up to proper pirating, and I don't know, we jumped out and got onto islands and immediately found chests and got back on, and like the progression of like what those chests give you and if any of that matters other than just giving you more similar things.
Yeah.
I don't know what you do in that
upgrades for
game.
your ship, or-
I don't know.
They've shown upgraded ships and some stuff, and
Okay. Yeah.
it seems like there's going to be a path there. But in terms of just why am I? What are we doing?
It's not Pirate Destiny. I'll say that, which is like a year ago, or whenever they announced it. That's what I assumed it was going to be, but it's not that. And I kind of wish there was a little more of that in there. Like,
well, yeah, but I guess like I still feel like there are not enough details in this beta, to get a sense of like what it is. Like, so it could very well be that.
Well,
maybe it is.
There's no character level, and there's no like stat-based loot.
Or is there?
I don't think so. Huh. Like I watched the video, the whole video they put out about here's the progression in this game. Got it. None of that.
All right.
So is it basically you're coordinating with everybody to steer the ship?
Yeah.
Sailing around. You find an island.
You got a big map table. Like you have somebody down in below decks navigating by looking at the map and telling you where to go. And you pick up voyages from like traders at outposts that say, "Hey, sail to this island," and like. And it's all, there's like a pretty heavy cartography aspect to the whole thing because like they don't tell you the name of the island you have to go to. You just look at your little treasure map and then match that to your big map and find the island that looks like that. And when you get there, they don't really spell out where anything is. Like you'll have a little X, which marks the spot.
Hey, what do you know?
On your, like there are spots where you have to like count out paces from a tree to find a treasure chest or like there are riddles that you have to read and kind of puzzle through to find stuff. Like it's neat. It's neat like solving, but I don't know how many there are.
But then you're pulling these chests up, and it's like, well, this chest when you hold it gives you the drunk effect, and now the drunk guy has to get the chest back to the boat. You know, which is kind of cool. Or ones that like are crying and I think call enemies over. Yeah. So there's that aspect to it, but I guess like we turned that chest in and got like 52 gold. Yeah. And I didn't feel like we had accomplished much of anything.
Did you ever talk to that vendor?
Yeah,
because they show like you have a faction rep level, and I guess there's, according to that video I watched, there's 3 factions in the game. There's only one in this beta, but you do get better items from them as you rank up in their faction. But from what I could tell, they were just like gold-plated versions of the items I already had. So I don't even know if those do anything different or if it's just like a status symbol.
Yeah, so I guess like that's the question I have now is like what's the long-term goal? Yeah. What are even like the short-term goals are there, like sail to the island, get the chest, but like what are we getting out of the shops that is that changing the game in a meaningful way? Yeah. Like the cannons could be better.
Oh, you mean you could upgrade, like you should be able to upgrade them? Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and it seems like that stuff is certainly in there.
I hope so.
Between like data mining and some other stuff, I think they've shown like here's an upgraded ship.
Okay.
So there's that.
Yeah.
So there is ship-to-ship combat.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
We did very poorly. But I think everyone will. Until you get someone who's really like dialed in, or if the upgrades make a big difference, like just dialing in range on a target and leading the target with these slow ass cannonballs.
It's tough.
Like it's you got to dial it in, but also you have to load the cannon after every fucking shot. Yeah. So it's a lot, and that's really neat.
And maneuvering these big ass ships that take like you spin the wheel and it takes a good 10 seconds to really start turning. Like it's super slow and plodding.
And it's like,
I kind of like that.
Yeah, at the outset, all that stuff seems great, and I'm really curious to see how that'll be long term. Yeah, if people eventually get to a point where they're like, all right, I'm really done coming about and piloting this ship, or like, hey, anyone who sticks with it to a certain degree, they're going to get tight enough with that shit where they're like, okay, we're drifting the boat around, firing cannons, you're done. Do crews become too savage?
Yeah, just fucking rule the seas
for you to just have like fun.
They probably want that. Like,
but I've definitely I feel like I've seen 5 or 6 different people say like, oh yeah, during the beta we got spawn camped on our boat and it was fucked.
Yeah,
we
kind of did that to somebody yesterday.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we had a terrible time because there was just people standing on our boat the whole time waiting for us to respawn.
We boarded a guy
down.
We boarded a guy who was playing by himself and just killed him over and over as he respawned on his boat.
That sucks. That's not cool. And like the option there seems to be like scuttle ship, which is like you going to a menu and basically hitting quit. And respawning your boat and everything else back at a base.
I wonder if that's just like a hacky beta option.
I wonder,
or if that's just going to be in the final game or not.
Like finding ways to keep that type of PvP fun can be hard. So I hope that they've got solutions to a lot of that stuff that just aren't present in the beta. Yeah. But like that to me is like a really big concern. Is PvP just going to be super dicky
or opt in as well? Do you think?
I feel like part of that world is encountering other players and stuff. I would be surprised if it was opt-in.
That's a huge part of it. I mean, variety is the point of the game, like seeing unexpected things, like exploring. But like at a certain point, you're going to see all the different islands.
Yeah, and if you play that long enough, eventually you get to a point where you pull the treasure map and go, all right, this is this island. Go over here, do this. And, we know where we are. We know where we're going.
Like maybe the treasure chest is in a slightly different place next time, but like if it's just that loop of tracking down treasure chests and like, getting slightly
I
better,
wonder.
mostly cosmetic items, like I
Yeah.
don't know how long it's going to stay interesting.
Yeah. What's the combat like on the island though? What
It's
are you
pretty.
fighting?
It's all really spammy and cartoonish. Like you have a sword, and in the beta you have a sword, like a flintlock pistol, and kind of a rifle with a scope on it.
Yeah.
It's almost like a sniper rifle, which is weird. But and there's a blunderbuss that I didn't have enough money to buy, which I guess is kind of like a shotgun.
Skeletons or
pirates. In the beta, it's nothing but skeletons,
and other human players,
and PvP. But it's all really spammy. You know, like people are bunny hopping around and kind of backing up and like trying to hit you with a sword, and it's really it looks goofy in the way you would expect. It sounds like there's a lot not in the beta.
I would hope so, yeah, because
but I don't know what a lot is. It's like I don't know what any of it is. I just had people saying like, yeah, even in the various phases of the alpha, there was more content than what's in this beta. So like, don't be too hard on it right now. But I don't know.
It's like a puzzling look at this final product.
Yeah,
because you come at it and go like, man, there's. As a sandbox, as like a thing, this thing is magic.
Fucking amazing. Like that level of it, it's as a foundation for other stuff. It's like one of the coolest things I've ever seen. But if that's all there is,
it does such a bad job of like any kind of like telling you what you're gonna do.
Yeah,
sure.
Long term, short term, medium term. Like what are the goals of the player? Like that sort of stuff.
When we found that
such
first
little structure to it.
Yeah, when we found that first riddle, that was a nice little moment of like, oh, that's something I haven't seen in this game before. But eventually, you will presumably quickly see all of those riddles, and you'll know how they work. Like,
or maybe they're weirdly dynamic.
Maybe it's possible they found ways around that stuff, but I don't know. It's blowing up on Twitch.
Yeah, it's
like,
a very curious thing.
Crazy. People mentioned during the chat yesterday, like, hey, this thing's been #1 on Twitch since the beta came out, and I was like, what, really? Because I didn't think people would take to it like that. And I went on Twitch after we streamed yesterday, and it had like 250,000 viewers, like double. League of Legends was #2 with half
I wonder if they're doing deals with streamers.
Maybe that's possible.
Way, like a lot of games do that. Fortnite did that.
Sure. But like you said, like there is a magical quality to how open ended and kind of random it can be. Yeah. Like you never know exactly what you're going to get.
That's cool.
And that's cool, but it could wear thin.
Well, you hope it keeps it up. Also, that's the sort of thing that. Once you've seen, like Destiny has it. Like the first time you see a public event, you're like, holy shit, what is this coming out of the sky? Yeah. And then you're like, oh, there are 4 of these. And we know exactly where they are. But like while you're in that magical early phase, it seems like anything's possible. So you have to hope that there's enough variety to it to make that last longer.
Yeah, the areas in Destiny are so small, though, that I feel like they're kind of at the opposite end of the spectrum, because this game just gives you the whole world, and they're all just like, hey, sail wherever you want. Like, find whatever. Like, who knows what you'll find on the way there. And so, like a little more of the Destiny-style structure on top of this open-ended foundation, I think would be amazing.
There any like Krakens or anything?
Somebody specifically said in our chat yesterday that people have data mined references to a Kraken. If there are not sea monsters in this game, why did they make this game?
Right.
Quite frankly, like there's a mermaid that teleports you around, and like a couple other sort of supernatural things. So I hope that there's a lot more cool stuff like that in there.
I had a sword fight with a shark underwater. I lost.
Can you kill it? Can you like hurt the sharks?
Yeah. I mean, it gives you like the Call of Duty hit marker whenever you do it.
Oh, wow. Man, I assumed they were just invincible.
And I shot the shark too. Yeah. Like there were sharks chasing you at one point, and I was on the beach, and I was just like, well, and I shot. It did not die, but it at least implied that damage was being done.
What if you could loot the shark?
Yeah,
that would be cool.
Wear it as a hat.
What if you get like weapons out of the shark's stomach?
Dude, yeah, if I could make a hat out of a shark, I'm in.
Yeah. You get a shark sack and cut off the shark's tail and then get stuff off that too.
There's a bunch of neat aspects to it, like if a ship sinks, like its cargo floats to the top so you can loot the treasure that they had, or they can come get it if they're fast enough. Like, or shipwrecks stay on the bottom so you can dive and explore them.
Oh, neat.
Like, just trying to think of some random stuff, like the North Star is in the game and you can apparently navigate by it.
Okay.
Like it is actually north, and that works. I was just kind of reading tips that people have been talking about, like when you're doing ship combat, they were recommending you like aim for like right above the water line, because if that's where you like place the damage on their ship, they'll start taking on water faster and stuff like that. Like a bunch of cool little details like that just make it seem fascinating.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's hard to tell what this game's going to be.
Got to see the final product before we can say.
It seems like it's got a ton of potential.
Yeah, totally.
I hope the final product comes through, because like the taste of it, you're like, man, if this is the right mix of stuff, this could be really something awesome.
Totally. And even if they maybe have a good plan for adding stuff after launch, it could be that. But if it's real thin at the beginning,
it
may rub some people the wrong way.
Yeah.
This is Xbox and PC.
You see, yeah, I was playing on PC while I think everybody else was.
I was on Xbox.
Yeah,
Okay,
and it worked totally fine. It was cool. Yeah.
Yep.
It's got potential.
Is that beta over?
No, it's going
till Wednesday, I think, right? The 31st.
It may have been like 12:01 Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
It may be over tonight,
Okay.
or maybe tomorrow sometime.
All right.
Yeah, you should hop in and check it out if you're interested. Like, it's playable by yourself. Like, I got.
And you get randomly like match made with.
Yeah, I don't know how they're handling
it's seamless
because I can't like
journey.
ship
It's
by
journey
myself.
style.
Yeah. Like, you don't.
So, but if you're playing alone, you can. Like they give you a smaller ship.
Yeah. I got decent at
okay.
moving at kind of piloting the smaller ship around. Like
Cool.
you have to run between like the sails and the wheel and the anchor and all that stuff yourself, but it's doable. Like it's a small enough ship that you can do that.
Can I just get drunk down in the galley?
You could definitely do that too.
You'll run out
Really?
of booze. I find if you just keep drinking it until it's all gone, it is all gone at the end.
So it does give you long-term goals.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yep.
All right.
It's the longest term goal.
Needs more songs.
Oh, yeah. What is
Yeah,
I feel like it's got there's like
situation.
3 in the
The
beta.
sea
I
shanty
think.
situation
Yeah.
is pretty limited. I do like that. Does everybody have different instruments, or like I had
everyone's got 2.
What, you have instruments? You
Yeah.
don't just sing?
No, you don't sing.
You just like turn a barrel
no.
over?
You
You pull out your squeeze box.
Yeah, there in the beta at least there's an accordion and a hurdy-gurdy.
Yeah.
I really like that the songs sync up when you all play next to each other.
If someone is playing and you start playing, you just join in with them.
Cool. Yeah, it's
and
really neat.
That's
But yeah, like just I don't know, like you mentioned singing, like none of the NPCs in the beta speak at all, or even like acknowledge your presence. They're just like vending machines for whatever they sell when you walk
X
up
to
to them.
refill grog.
Like yeah, like I really hope that stuff is a little more lively in the final version.
Nah, just give me grog.
Nothing else matters.
Mm-hmm.
All right, y'all want to talk about some news?
Yeah.
Let's get into the news of the week.
Breaking news at this hour.
Yeah, I wouldn't even call this first thing news. I pulled this kind of a feature story off of Polygon yesterday, written by Colin Campbell.
Mm-hmm.
Entitled "The Xbox One Has a Serious Exclusive Games Problem," which is definitely something that we touched on last week with that Game Pass stuff. You know, Microsoft kind of getting into the Netflix for games business from the looks of things, but we kind of came to the very super obvious conclusion that they don't have a lot of exclusive games to populate that with.
Right.
The story is mostly about that. Like, it quotes analysts, it talks about market trends and blah, 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 but it's got rumors about Microsoft acquiring people in it.
Yeah, that
are
seems
super
like
thin.
Like
they
and then people have written stories off of this story that then just have the headline of Microsoft to acquire studios, and you're like,
which is the exact opposite reaction that you should have to this. I feel like even the author in the story is fairly explicit that here's the line right here. Like he says rumors of acquisitions are a perennially favorite pastime in the game industry.
Yeah,
obviously implying this is pretty much all spitballing, but he does say, but with Microsoft's exclusives problem married to its lagging behind PlayStation and its pot of gold, the gossip has intensified recently.
And you have to also consider that everyone is always talking to everyone.
Yes, totally.
In this business, like in business, there's always like, hey, maybe what does this look like? Hey, maybe we could acquire you. Maybe we could acquire you. Maybe we do it. Maybe we do a partnership deal. Maybe we do this. Like
some executives might have played golf with each other, and that counts as having a discussion. But nothing ever came of it. But he does cite specific rumors that he's heard. He says some of the names being thrown around as possible acquisitions by Microsoft are frankly astounding, even unthinkable. The most recent one we heard from a reliable source close to Microsoft was Electronic Arts. We also heard a whisper about Valve and about Korean outfit PUBG Corp, which they're doing business with the PUBG people already. So.
I don't think you need to buy. I don't think you need to buy Battlegrounds to get the benefit of Battlegrounds.
Yeah,
they already spent the money to get that benefit.
Yeah, I think didn't they say they just passed something like 4 million?
Unless they want it on PC, unless it ends up being a Minecraft thing.
Like, I want the whole thing.
I could see them doing that and just treating it the same way they treat Minecraft.
Yeah.
But that doesn't do anything for like if the stated issue is we need games on Xbox. Buying PUBG doesn't solve that problem.
Yeah, they've already got it.
Yeah.
But they have said that's coming to PS4 at some point, or they've implied it, right?
Yeah, Bluehole, or PUBG Corp, whatever division it is now, I think they've still continued to say that they intend to bring it everywhere. But Minecraft is also everywhere, so you could look at that model and go like, oh, there's room for this.
Yeah.
I think EA doesn't make a lot of sense when you look at I mean, you know, EA's games are licensed sports games in a lot of cases, and
what are you going to do? Make Madden Xbox exclusive?
Right, like that. That's the thing that the NFL,
like they probably wouldn't stand for.
Yeah, the NFL doesn't want that. You know, the baseball situation with Sony is weird, and it's largely because no one cares enough about making a baseball video game. You know, so the MLB had to go make RBI themselves because 2K was getting out. You know. And it just so happens that Sony's the first party and they make a great baseball game, so they still have the license, and they've become the de facto exclusive simulation baseball game because no one else is stepping up to the plate to make it happen. What? And I think EA, you know, like EA brings games, but yeah, I think that it would fuck up EA's current licensing business.
Yeah, that's stuff,
you know, around FIFA and Madden. Like the reasons you would buy EA to get sports exclusives is part of why when all those deals came up for renegotiation, like I feel like a lot of those sports entities might be a little more likely to look elsewhere because they might, you know, unless Microsoft wants to get into this business and then just say like, yeah, we realize it's going to cost us a ton of money on an ongoing basis to maintain these relationships. We'll have to sweeten the pot for the NFL when that deal comes up again to make up for lost revenue on PS4. Like if they're willing to make that leap, it's possible, but that seems like a lot of fucking money.
Yeah.
Speaking of a lot of money, Valve seems like a lot of fucking money.
Well, probably not as much as EA. I'm trying to find the figures in this story. I think EA has a market capitalization. Here it is, $35 billion.
Okay.
But Microsoft has a...
That's, what is that, 16, 17 Star Warses?
Something like that. But it also says Microsoft has $130 billion cash on hand. So, like, they, you know, I think isn't the whole thing that investors want that spent on things that can grow?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully. Yeah.
I don't know. To me, the strength of EA for a Microsoft is their massive, like, back catalog or back portfolio of IPs, like franchises and stuff. Like, not necessarily the sports stuff, but like other big name. You know, I mean, you know, they own Mass Effect and stuff like that. But like,
all those long dormant franchises. Remember when they used to make great Mass Effect games?
Don't forget, Microsoft published the first Mass Effect.
You're right,
and it was a good Mass Effect.
I mean, honestly, if I were looking at that, if I was looking at EA and everything was on the table, I wouldn't buy EA.
Right,
I would buy EA's back catalog,
or if not even maybe not even buy, you could just as easily make like exclusive deals with them to fund development of one of those projects or something. Like there are other ways to get some of those games without. Buying all of EA.
Right. But, you know, at the end of the day, that's just like, at that point, you're just funding a project, which they do already. You know, like, what is it, like Playground is making 2 games now, right? They've got Forza, they've got this, whatever this rumored Fable thing is.
Yeah, but it's pretty much all stuff Microsoft already owns.
Right. You know, but they could be out there, you know, and my understanding is they would get out there and do deals for more games. You know, and they need to branch out too.
Yeah.
Do you think it's possible for the industry to start getting like, you know, streaming first kind of exclusivity deals? Like, you know, if they're talking about this like as a Netflix style platform, like it's going to be available on their system for 2 weeks or something like that.
Before it comes out at retail on other platforms?
There's still, I feel like there's still just enough fear of pissing off retail to where that is hard. And you also have the install base on PS4 to where like that's money from Microsoft every single time they do it. That's them paying each publisher each time one of those games comes across. Whereas if you were just buying the publisher, then, you know, it's a chunk of money and you're done and you're good to go. That value is now your value, as opposed to this kind of perpetual, like, hey, we're paying you to keep it from other players, which doesn't really fit with, like, you know, Phil Spencer's general attitude about, you know, being kind of friendly to consumers and that sort of stuff, and where exclusives lie and like third-party exclusives lie in that. It doesn't really fit with the way they've put themselves forward as of late. Whereas buying someone outright, that's a much cleaner thing to message and talk about.
But more expensive, I'm sure.
Yeah. But long run, that money's all your money. No, you're not giving, it's not rev share. It's not anything else. It's like, this is now all 100% ours.
True.
I don't know. What if they bought Warner's game stuff out from under them? You know, Warner's got, it's that Midway stuff. It's probably not enough.
Yeah.
You would get Mortal Kombat.
Like, I'm trying to think what besides Mortal Kombat is huge, though, in that
Batman
stable.
Assuming the DC licenses continue to stay attached to that sort of stuff, you get the Batman.
Yeah, I don't know what you do with Batman, though. Like,
No, at this
Batman's
point,
kind of played out after
I
they made
agree.
enough of those games that it's kind of hard to go back to the well on that.
Yeah,
right now.
You get your Lord of the Rings, which is a little dicey right now.
Yeah, that's also a little played out. Like,
Maybe that's not enough.
Yeah.
XFL games.
There you go.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, there's nothing super concrete in the story, but there are like enough analysts chiming in here that it makes it seem like, I don't know.
Sure.
They seem to think like maybe we will hear something sooner than later.
I think Microsoft is getting to a point. Well, I mean, E3 is coming up also.
Yeah.
And you have to either assume that, like, Microsoft's slate of games, when you look at its studios, like they will have to, like, this year is probably the right time for them to start to message a Gears game, but this is probably a Halo year for E3.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't go hard on Gears, you go a little harder on Halo, but even probably not too hard on that because that's probably next year.
Yeah. Yes.
Would this be the 3-year?
This might be the year for a new Halo. I think
if
if
Halo's been kind of on a 3-year thing for a good long time, then would this be the year?
Yeah. It would.
Okay. Well,
finish the fight again.
Finish the fight again.
Finish the other fight.
Finish the new fight.
Yeah.
God, yeah. And
all that stuff is well and good, but like,
no, they need more.
It's a 6th Halo game.
You're right.
It's about to be a 5th Gears game.
Right.
Like, they definitely need some new stuff.
And
or different stuff.
And we'll see what Crackdown does when it finally hits.
Yeah. Sea of Thieves is fresh as hell. Whatever it turns out to be, it's at least a very new idea.
Yeah, it seems risky in a way that is fun.
And State of Decay 2 also looks fantastic. I'm super jazzed about that. But those are, I don't know, not meat and potatoes like mainstream things necessarily.
Yeah, but yet. What is nowadays?
We didn't think.
I don't know what is.
Like,
Destiny. Maybe they buy Bungie.
Microsoft buying Bungie, it could never happen.
Yeah. I don't know.
God, I don't even know how that would work with that long-term Activision deal.
Yeah. Right.
But
I mean, it works with them paying Activision to get them out of the deal.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
there's nothing definitive in here, but between like the Game Pass stuff, the amount of money Microsoft has, all the analysts chiming in here, the rumors that these guys are talking about.
Phil Spencer getting promoted up to, it's that at least signals that they are looking to make moves in video games still.
That's,
from the Microsoft overall perspective, not just, I mean, obviously the Xbox group is constantly looking to make moves in video games.
Yeah, that's the linchpin to me is Phil Spencer is now directly under the head of Microsoft. Like, they're not part of, I think they were part of like the Windows Devices group before.
Yeah.
Now they're kind of their own thing.
Which you could also argue maybe makes it slightly easier to spin it off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although, but I don't think that makes sense.
This story describes, where is it? I can't find the line, but like this story describes Satya Nadella as enthusiastic about the Xbox division, which is like not what I had understood. So, if he believes in it and wants them to make moves, then maybe they're gonna do something crazy.
They're in this weird spot. Like they found themselves back in the strange spot that they launched into video games with, where they've got the most powerful console on the block, and that only matters to X number of players.
Yeah.
And the competitors are out there beating them on numbers. And so, but also, like, what gap are you trying to close? If you look at things, the way things are right now with half-step consoles and, like, what does the generation mean? You start to look at these like, oh, well, if PlayStation is ahead of them 2-1 worldwide, well, we'll get a reset next time out when we go PS5 and Xbox 2 4. Yeah. It's 4. Sorry, it's 2 here. It's 4 in Japan.
Right, of course. We got the easy type console. Though,
right,
so.
Yeah. But, if these things stay backwards compatible and all this other stuff, like, that then digs the like platform ecosystem mentality in a little bit deeper, because people are like, oh, all my games still work.
Yeah. And especially if you're just paying a monthly fee to play games and not buying individual games anymore. Like,
well, then that becomes like it
even more feels just like a platform rather than
right.
So
but you end up, I think, you getting a lot of those PS4 owners digging in and sticking with them because they've bought all these games already.
Totally.
In a way that didn't necessarily happen before.
Yeah.
Because the generations were hard cutoffs in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's strange times.
Yeah, strange and interesting, and it seems like
I think I agree with the basic sentiment that Microsoft should probably buy somebody. They should probably expand their studio portfolio.
Like, it would be the fastest way to get some new stuff.
Like,
as opposed to like trying to build up a bunch of teams and
all
that stuff internally. I mean, they are doing that to some extent, but E3, maybe E3 will be weird. Maybe
E3 will. I think E3 is going to be weird for the next few years, just because I think video games are fucking weird.
Kinda, yeah. But maybe Microsoft's conference just starts with like the head of some company walking out on stage and being like, "Hey, we're part of Xbox now."
They got us.
I don't know who that would be, but
Atom Boys. No, I don't know.
Yeah, strange times. Kotaku ran kind of an inside look on Anthem, the BioWare. Are we calling it a loot shooter? Is that what we understand Anthem to be a Destiny style?
I think so.
Persistent.
I was understanding that it was at least a little
RPG?
different than that.
Okay,
but
people definitely think it's like the type of game that would have loot boxes and stuff. That is definitely the like scaremongering.
It says
narrative.
BioWare and Electronic Arts right on the box.
Narrative,
so,
yeah,
yes,
totally.
I also would believe it to have that sort of stuff. Fucking UFC has a ton of it, you know?
Yeah, the story's from Jason Schreier, who's done a bunch of like inside BioWare reporting for the last little bit. The gist is that the entirety of BioWare is working on Anthem. Like, oh my god, why am I blanking on their headquarters, their main
Edmonton,
right? Edmonton and the Austin studio. I mean, they still have those satellite studios, but those are the two main.
Right.
But yeah, like it sounds like basically everybody who works for BioWare more or less.
Which there was a Dragon Age game in development.
Yeah.
Which is this then put on hold because everyone is full?
That was the gist of this story, but then Casey Hudson, who's back running BioWare again, got out there sometime after this story was published because there's an update in this. Talking about Dragon Age, the next Dragon Age still being on the books. Like they're let's see, where's that line?
On the books doesn't necessarily mean like
in active
full team
development,
like they could be pulling people off that to finish Anthem and still
totally
and still be working on Dragon Age.
Yeah, but they at least have plans for it. Here's what he said about Dragon Age. Reading lots of feedback regarding Dragon Age, and I think you'll be relieved to see what the team is working on.
Yeah.
Story and character focused. Too early to talk details, but when we talk about live, it just means designing a game for continued storytelling after the main story. So some kind of live game for Dragon Age.
Yep.
Just like Anthem. But yeah, so like basically just about everybody at BioWare is working on Anthem, and also they basically say that like the future of the studio hangs on this game.
Yep.
So no pressure or anything.
No. And I mean, they still have Old Republic up and running.
Yeah, so there's
like,
a bunch of weird details in here. Like one of the details is there are talks at BioWare right now about shutting down Old Republic or ceasing active development on it.
I've heard that as well.
I think that that lines up with some pretty unsubstantiated stuff that I heard a while back.
Okay.
But I still can't.
Yeah, his sources said discussed ending development on Old Republic, but one person familiar with the studio told me recently that plans are still up in the air.
I think Old Republic's been around for a long time. Like we always think about it as this game that when they went free to play, it sounds like that thing started doing incredibly well for them, and they made that transition really well. I don't know today if it is still working out for them, but also like it's long in the tooth. Like how many people like do you need active development on that game, or is there enough there to just kind of keep it going for another year without a ton of updates, and then eventually kind of ride it down, sunset that thing. It's not gonna be around forever. So I could see it. I could see it. That game's old at this point.
Sure. This says, I think Anthem they're still saying is a fall 2018, but this says it's next year. They're saying that release date is not going to happen.
Well, it probably is still fiscal.
They say fiscal, so that would be March next year.
Yeah.
But even that is, you never know.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the gist is basically like there's a lot riding on this game, and that they are freaked out about what's happened with Battlefront 2 and Destiny 2 and like loot boxes in general, and like
it's a lot of business model stuff that has to change,
like
or at least be looked at and figure out like, okay, how do we?
Yeah, like making that type of game has got to be incredibly tricky and precarious right now.
Yeah,
and that game looked cool, so I hope they figure it out.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
I like BioWare. Would like them to continue.
They've hurt you before, Brad.
Yeah, it's not.
I mean, it's now like. It's been a few games from BioWare that have been like minimum rough.
Keep going back to
kind of. I don't know.
They'll change.
Dragon Age Inquisition certainly has its fans.
Okay.
I'm ready to love
Mass
it.
Effect Andromeda certainly has its fans too.
That's not even remotely the same thing.
Yes,
like
it's not,
Inquisition is a functional game that
yes,
some people have issues with, but like it's different quality of product.
You're right. Yes.
Yeah, but we'll see. One game that is no longer going to continue is Paragon.
That's weird.
From Epic.
Yeah.
They're shutting it down.
Yeah, refunding people.
The action MOBA, yeah. Like, everybody's getting their money back, so, like, no skin off anybody's nose, I guess.
This was, like, a pretty fast turnaround.
Yeah.
There was, like, a post, like, Epic posted on Reddit, like, hey, we're open to ideas about what to do with Paragon.
Yeah.
We're not, the player base is not what it needs to be for us to keep this as a going concern, so we're looking at things we can do, up to and including shutting it down.
Yeah.
And then 2 weeks later, they're like, check this out.
Yeah.
We're shutting it down.
We made the decision. Yeah.
We read your ideas. They're all terrible.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the ideas were like, make it like it was. Like, you know, because they went through some pretty big overhauls with like game speed and map stuff. You know, like they made a lot of, they made drastic changes to that game.
Not necessarily for the better, it sounds like, right?
It was stuff that, like, on paper, as someone who did not play much Paragon, reading what the ideas behind it in terms of, like, oh, we want these matches to be a little faster, paced, and keep it moving. I was like, yeah, that sounds like something that might make me more likely to play Paragon. Turns out, didn't actually make me play more Paragon.
When it launched, it was enough,
kind of alienated.
It was enough of a MOBA
existing players.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, the matches were 30 to 45 minutes long when the first beta came out. It was a MOBA-ass MOBA. But, yeah, they say we feel there isn't a clear path for us to grow Paragon into a MOBA that retains enough players to be sustainable. We didn't execute well enough or to deliver on the promise of Paragon. We have failed you, despite the team's incredibly hard work, and we're sorry. And then, instructions to get your refund, and that's the whole post.
I feel like it's a very forthright apology in terms of just like, hey, you know, like they are taking it on the chin on this in just about every way they could.
I guess so, yeah.
In terms of just like, they're going to refund people because this kind of never left early access, despite them selling disc-based copies of this game. Despite sellers on the internet continuing to sell disc-based copies. I bought a copy of Paragon on PS4.
Wait, so hang on. I'm looking at these refund instructions. If you bought that disc copy, like when it first came out, are you just out that money?
I have no idea, because I think that's still a code you redeem to get things on your account.
Okay. So maybe they can refund you that way?
I would assume that you can still get it that way.
Okay.
Okay. I bought a sealed copy of that game to keep.
Why not?
Because I'm a goddamn idiot.
All right. Yeah,
that's a dumb thing to do. When the Silicon Knights thing was going down with like X-Men or whatever, I bought those. Also a dumb thing to do. I spent $25 on a disc copy of Paragon.
But you're going to have that.
You never know.
In a plastic box.
That's
in
right.
Your garage.
That's going to be
anytime that you want.
Anytime I want to look at it, open it up, and not play it. It's there for me. Fortnite swallowing up a lot of Epic, huh?
That's the pivot, huh?
What did I see? They just passed like 45 million players or so. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's active players or like people who have ever logged into the game lifetime or what.
Right. Is it month? Is it DAO? Is it MAO? What?
Don't want to know. Yeah, people
now all
are playing
hands on this. Huh?
People are playing a lot of that Fortnite Battle Royale mode.
Wow.
It seems. Wow. What do you think's going to happen with UT?
I think UT, last I checked, had not been updated since June. And
I guess that one they could probably just sort of quietly never address.
Well, that thing was launched with the idea of like, hey, we're fan development. Download the Unreal Engine and make some shit. Like
Did they ever take money for that?
There were items you could buy.
Okay.
Like I get this hat, but they were they were rolling that stuff almost out as like a test, and the idea was that players would be able to make shit and sell it on a unified store.
Right.
So mods could be paid, and the makers of those mods would get money. In theory, and I don't know if they ever fully executed on that stuff beyond like a couple of test cosmetics or something. I'm not sure where it stands.
If they're looking at Lawbreakers and Quake Champions and stuff like that. Like,
I think
Fortnite or not, like they might be going like, I don't know how much of a market there is for this many deathmatch games,
especially something that's only on their launcher. You know, it never made it out wider. Not that would have, well, it probably would have done something, but I don't know. I like that thing actually. I think that new UT they made was nice. It looked good. The framework seemed like it was there. And I was looking forward to like I would check in on it every 3 or 4 months and go like, what are the updates? What have they done? And play a few matches and go like, all right, cool. I'll check in on it. I was kind of hoping they would get to a place with it, but also no one is playing it.
Everybody's playing Fortnite.
And by Fortnite, you mean just the battle royale?
Just the
I
free
have
part
to
of
assume,
Fortnite.
yeah, the part that's
Yeah.
free, which I have to imagine is a big part of why so many people are playing it.
Yeah.
Like, is this going to swallow up Spyjinx development at some
Oh
point?
God, I totally forgot about that.
Is Epic just going to like go all the way in on Fortnite Battle Royale? And
I guess that's their only other announced game, isn't it?
is that mobile? Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Weird. Happy Trails, Paragon.
You played
Yeah.
some Paragon.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
It was good. I mean, the card loadout stuff was pretty fiddly and complicated. Like the way you built your characters,
Right.
Was like you
That
had
was-
to
it was
like
interesting. I
assemble
like
a
that.
deck. Like it was
Yeah.
it was at least a different idea, but I don't feel like they ever quite made it click. But it looked nice and it played pretty well.
Yeah, I liked it too.
Yeah. Speaking of games shutting down, actually, I don't know. Was Mitomo a game?
It's an experience.
It's, yeah.
Way of life.
What is a game?
A pocket experience.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're shutting down Mitomo on May 9th.
How am I gonna get to know my friends better?
Yeah.
You better hurry.
There's no way. From here on out, we're
Still got a couple months.
everyone's a mystery now.
Yeah.
The way I like it.
Yeah, not a whole lot to say. May 9th, the thing will be dead. Like, apparently when you launch it, it just won't let you in.
And they're like removing Mitomo related items from their other games because
Oh,
they had
really?
some like crossover like Club Nintendo
Yeah.
point things.
That's weird.
I think they're
right.
taking that stuff out of like Super Mario Run and
That I'm not sure I understand
Yeah.
why that would be necessary.
I don't know. That was just what I read.
Yeah.
Mitomo was neat for about 4 hours. No,
Not even.
No.
about half an hour.
I never even got through the account creation stuff like that. There was enough busy work in there. I was like,
I got to a point with it where I was like, I don't know that I feel comfortable answering these questions for people anyway. So
Yeah.
whatever. They don't get to know me.
I wonder
Nintendo
if-
selling data.
Yeah. It felt kind of.
Did they ever-
Did
Did they ever take money through that thing, or was it
Yeah, I
just a
think
way
you-
to get people to create accounts?
I think you could buy cosmetic things
Yeah.
for Mitomo.
Huh.
Sounds
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there was some kind of currency, but I don't know. Whatever. It was their first attempt at getting out there and doing this stuff. I
Yeah.
still feel like they have not done a great job.
Yeah, I mean, I think they've like been pretty honest, right?
Yeah.
That those mobile games are not like blowing up for them. Maybe they'll get there.
Yeah.
Animal Crossing
was-
seemed
yeah.
like was like, come on.
Yeah.
Of all the Nintendo games that would belong on a phone, it's this one, but most people didn't seem to think so. Jeff, lastly, do you want to weigh in on Snoop Doggy Dog's Twitch debut?
Please, it's just Snoop
Twitch
Dogg.
debut.
Thought I would keep
Oh
it.
wow.
Keep it.
I
old-
bet this
old
is not
school.
his Twitch debut.
Is it not?
The EA press conference was definitely streamed on
Yeah.
Twitch.
It's true. He was not streaming out of his home.
No,
though,
Snoop has
or
been
wherever he was.
I feel like I've seen Snoop on Ustream.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Okay.
Justin's
Like what? Like
TV.
like
Yeah.
8 or like
Yeah,
8 or 10
Justin
years
TV.
ago.
No,
Or
like
recently?
like more
Is Ustream
within the
still
last
around?
5 years.
Huh.
Ustream is still around. IBM bought it, I think, but I still have a
right.
Ustream app installed. I don't know what the fuck it does, but
Weird.
I saw him on a real stream one time.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
but I've definitely like watched Snoop smoking weed and getting his hair done on the internet before.
Okay.
I can't remember which service it was on.
Okay.
It might have been. I want to say it was Twitch, but
But
it
he
might
wasn't
not be.
playing games.
But yeah,
Is he-
No.
this was Snoop
He's-
straight up Twitch style, just like a little green screen cut out of
Yeah.
himself.
He
sitting
wasn't-
in a
he wasn't
chair.
playing games
But
here
yeah,
either,
like
so-
apparently he was not actually. Was he pretending?
Sort of.
Okay.
Not
So
well.
was he pretending? Was he supposed to be pretending?
I think so.
Did he have a UFC pay per view in the
did-
background?
did-
His
right,
commentating
yeah.
Did
over
whoever
it?
presumably paid him to do this expect him to pretend like he was playing?
I probably.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know,
Okay.
but at some point he had just like both hands in shot,
Yeah.
handling weed,
Mhm.
while the game was still being played. But I think he was on mic because that game, it's called SOS. It's
Mhm.
an early access, and it is very much you need a microphone if you want to play this because it is very much communication, form a team,
It's
like
yeah, it's like some kind of 16 players try to escape from an island
yeah.
type thing.
So it's like you're
Yeah.
forming alliances, you're backstabbing each other, and all this other stuff. Multiple radio channels and all that other
Okay.
stuff. So in effect, with my experience with this game, that turns into about half the players are talking to their Twitch chat, and half the players are saying racist shit.
Great.
So I've had a
That's-
fantastic time with that fucking thing.
Video games on the internet.
Yeah, so they did a stream to debut it on early access, and they got Snoop in to do it, and it's just fucking tragic.
Is it?
It's
Is
just
it?
like
Is that
you're watching. It's like this is a huge waste of money. Congratulations to Snoop for showing up where the money was. Yet again.
So is he matched in with other people, and was it live voice chat? Could we hear?
Yeah, I think you would hear him talking to people.
Right.
The the company that put this out actually like this stream went down and they sent out a thing saying, hey, we're gonna stream with Snoop Dogg, and then after the fact they sent out something saying, we've got clips of Snoop Dogg playing SOS, and you're like, the fuck you do. like just after everyone watched it and clipped it and sent that around and be like, look at this fake ass shit, they then had the audacity to just send it out without acknowledging the reality of it in a way that's just like, all right, you guys seem like bozos. This is horrible. This way to get your game off to a start. Like, I don't want anything to do with this mess.
Did he seem versed in the game at all?
I did not. No,
I didn't really watch
a ton of it.
I saw about 30 seconds.
I kind of watched some of the clips and was just like, all right.
This write-up I'm looking at implies that he was occasionally like talking to the person off camera who was actually playing the game, which is a great way to maintain the facade.
I mean, at some point, like, why have the facade at all? And like, it's probably better that they didn't just try to pass it off completely as that, like, made it pretty plain.
Yeah. Sure.
But then to send out things trying to get like coverage of it, like, look at Snoop Dogg playing our game. Like, it's like, all right.
How old is Snoop now?
I'm gonna say mid to late 40s.
Okay, I was wondering if he'd hit 50 yet. Gotta be getting there.
Man,
he's probably getting close. Yeah, but I don't know.
All right,
he was fantastic in UFC. That's all I know about Snoop.
So yeah,
in that UFC
he's in knockout mode, which they had in the previous game, but they've changed it up a bit here. It's a UFC mode that kind of gives you fighting game style life bars.
No grappling. It's just like
it's just striking. Straight striking. It's kind of
is it like fixed to a side?
Kind of.
UFC, the game always
is.
Yeah. And Snoop does the commentary for that.
Nice.
And it sounds like they got him for 3 or 4 hours to read lines into a microphone, and then someone had to chop it up and try to make it work.
I'm thinking like a half hour, maybe.
It definitely doesn't seem like a lot of material from Snoop.
Does it seem like
it's very repetitive?
Seem like they wrote the lines for him to record?
They probably came up with scenarios, and they were like, "What would you say if a guy hit another guy in the face?"
Don't do that.
What does he say?
He say, "Back off, man! Your bars is low," is what he says.
Right.
It's pretty fantastic the first few times you hear this stuff.
All right.
But it does get repetitive.
Sounds like an experience.
It is.
It's an incredible idea. So I guess the context I did not have for this is that Snoop actually does a UFC show or podcast thing that is him doing commentary over like minor league like fights.
Did not know that.
And I've seen some fighters being super fucking pissed because Snoop just fucking talks shit and doesn't know anything about. So he's like, it is a very disrespectful stream of consciousness out of Snoop in a way that is probably entertaining, but the fighters are like, what the fuck? Like, hey, this is a sport. Like, what do you, like, our support is paying this guy to fucking talk shit about. What the fuck is this?
I was going to ask, it's a sponsored thing, like from this league or whatever?
It's from, it's like some Dana White thing. It's, it's some... It is related to all that shit.
Not like
it's not. I don't think he's not just doing it on the side. It sounds like it is semi-official or whatever the fuck it is.
No.
So there is some precedent for Snoop Dogg to talk dumb shit over UFC fights.
That makes sense.
But still, it's
not great.
It is poorly executed in a way that is hilarious up to a point, and then you've heard all of it 2 or 3 times, and then that's funny for another 5 or 10 fights, I bet.
Probably.
And then you're like, all right, I can't ever do this again. This is awful. Just a poor execution of that idea. If they had just paid Snoop for a few more hours or something, maybe it would have been different. I don't know.
No.
All
right.
Probably not. I do like the willingness to let him swear, because at some point, like, the game is rated what it's rated.
Oh, sure.
And, because of the nature of it, people bleed in that game. It's UFC.
That's UFFC.
Yeah.
Just let him talk how he talks.
Yeah.
All right, that's it for news. Let's take one more quick break, and then we'll come back and read emails.
Valentine's Day is coming up.
Again?
Yes,
Man.
it happens every year.
Feels like we just got through the last one.
I know. Last year, Valentine's Day was a year long as far as I'm concerned. This year, you've got a 1-2 punch at your disposal when it comes to acquiring items.
Wait, we're fighting on Valentine's Day now?
For your Valentine. No, it's a double whammy.
Gonna throw hands to get into that restaurant?
No, you do not. Well, I mean, you might have to. I don't know. Sometimes it gets a little wild out there. But this year, 2018, Pro Flowers and Sherry's Berries have teamed up.
Whoa. Berries, huh?
That's right. To help you really impress your Valentine this year with their perfectly paired collection. Go ahead and think inside the box this Valentine's Day, because this really is a one-of-a-kind gift. Your bouquet and dipped strawberries will arrive together in a beautiful, specially designed box that will keep your flowers fresh and your berries cold, guaranteed.
What are the strawberries dipped in?
Chocolate.
Oh.
Like a variety of chocolates. Okay. Yeah. You can save 20% on any one of their perfectly paired combinations or any other gift over $29 with the promo code BOMBCAST. There's only one way to get that 20% off. You just have to go to proflowers.com today and enter the code BOMBCAST at checkout. That's right, anything over $29, including these perfectly paired, freshly dipped strawberries from Sherry's Berries, these beautiful blooms from Pro Flowers, all goes into one thing. That's right.
Just make sure you eat the berries and put the flowers in water, not the other way around.
I am not here to tell people what to do with their lives.
Yeah, okay, if you want to eat the flowers.
If you want to eat the flowers,
display the berries.
I don't know how that will go. I'm not a doctor. I don't know anything. I don't know anything.
People like to get wild on Valentine's.
That's not true. I do know one thing.
Oh, yeah?
If you go to proflowers.com and use the offer code BOMBCAST, you'll save 20% off a gift over $29. How about that?
You can take that to the bank.
That's right. You won't need to take it to the bank. You'll take it to the... Well, I don't know.
Take it to your home.
Take it to your bedroom.
Where
I don't know.
What special loved one is.
Yeah.
Send them flowers.
And berries.
Okay, let's close out the show with a handful of electronic missives from the audience, otherwise known as email. Bombcast@channelphone.com.
Words from our friends.
I'm going to strike my email posture.
All right.
Email posture is important.
Puff up.
Yep.
Puff up.
Chest out, head back. Jack in London.
Jack London.
Sounds
Jack,
like a real square.
Not Jack London. Or maybe it is. I don't know. I bought a GeForce 1060 for about 180 pounds in May last year, but recently it broke. It's still well within warranty, but neither the retailer I bought it from nor the manufacturer have any replacements. They offered me a refund, which is less than useful when an equivalent card is now 300 plus pounds. I really don't like the idea of paying twice for the same card. My last resort is sending it back to the manufacturer for repair, but if that doesn't work, then I guess I'm screwed. I'll have to write off playing PC games till prices come back down, if ever. How long do you think it will be before PC game developers start taking steps to protect their prospective customers? What's the point of releasing a high-spec game on PC if no one can play it?
Right. I thought the bottom would have dropped out on this stuff by now, and things would have settled down, but not. It's still going.
Yeah, that is the long-term effects of this start to look weirder and weirder the longer it goes.
Yeah.
I had not considered the idea of just like, hey, if you're developing video games,
right?
Like if you're a PC game manufacturer, like how many of those cards are in the hands of people actually using them to play games?
Right.
Like you're probably looking at those Valve hardware surveys a lot more closely these days to try to figure out what the percentage is.
Wow, this guy has 8 1080s. Wow.
Right, yeah.
It's amazing.
Ban him. And yeah.
Send the authorities.
When the bottom drops out.
How do they safeguard this stuff? I mean, retailers stepping up and saying, hey, just one per person.
Yeah, I don't know.
But that's still going to, whatever. That's, you're getting your friends in line or you're paying people to wait in line to get your cards. Like, that doesn't
and I mean,
stop.
Retailers are probably fucking stoked that they're moving these cards for like, what, 40 to 50% markup? Or more?
Well, yeah.
Whatever they're selling for. Well, I guess that's more like 100%, but like.
So what's the Radeon situation? Like
yeah, where did we talk about those AMD cards recently? Where there's cards out there that don't have HDMI port, like they're stripped down.
It's a Frontier Edition card specifically for mining. I don't know. Yeah,
like, maybe NVIDIA will also get into that game, or it's just like, here's one that's lacking the features you would want for video games.
The thing is like, you know, if there's an insatiable appetite for those run out, and then all of the real graphics cards do as well, because the value of all these cryptocurrencies is such that it's worth it.
Worth it. Yeah.
And then yeah, you know, we talked about like the idea of like gets real long term or bad for NVIDIA when and if all this stuff does crash out and everyone's getting out. If they're suddenly selling a bunch of used 1080 Ti's for, you know, 20% of their retail value.
Right. Just trying to unload them because they have 800 of them in a warehouse.
Right.
Nothing to do with them. Yeah. Gently used.
Yeah, I don't know about gently, but
that was an intentional understatement.
Yeah.
More like 100% load
used
for
as much as we could use them
months at a time. Here's this $200 1080. It might last another week. We don't know.
Could say.
I did not see this coming. I did not see Banana Coin. You know, I'm still just blown away by this stuff.
I don't want to know.
You know, like Facebook, I think has now banned advertising from any kind of ICO or cryptocurrency type stuff. Like
it's too much during the election. Jeez.
It's too much. Yeah, I think I've pretty much given up on getting a video card anytime soon.
Yeah,
just gonna keep limping along on that.
You kind of need to just
970.
keep checking. Although, like NVIDIA, like I said, those $1,200, $1,300 Star Wars Titans were in stock on NVIDIA's online store for like over a week.
Has this also driven up the price of like, you know, pre-built PCs, like something you can get from like Dell or Alienware?
I wonder if they even have them to build. Like, you know, what do you? That's
I would think I would assume they have like OEM deals with the manufacturers to get them directly, but who knows? Who knows what the effect is? Yeah,
buy a friggin' PC.
Yeah, just like buy a PC, like sell the PC,
part out the GPU, and then offload the rest.
I'm looking into that.
Yeah.
Sea of Thieves ran pretty okay on that 970 I got though, so like, you're not
still
like
rocking that. Yeah.
You're not like being super pressured,
right?
But
yeah,
the clock is ticking, and there's no recourse for getting a better card.
Like,
so
I'm still rocking that 980, and it's doing great with 1080 stuff. But
yeah, if you're at higher resolutions, you definitely need more than a 900 series card. But that's
I bought that 1080 when they first came out.
Yeah,
and
it's
been good to me.
I kept putting it off, and now I wish I had gotten something when it was possible. But oh well.
Even then, it was like low stock, and it was a pain in the ass.
When those came out, that was actually part of the reason I bought one. Is like, oh man, these things seem hard to get. And I see one sitting here, I should get it.
Yeah. There were times when 1070s were like under 400, and I should have just fucking grabbed one then.
Remember those days?
Let's see.
It's bizarre.
Yeah, what a strange state of affairs. Jeremy from Sacramento.
Hi.
We talked about, or Jeff, you mentioned this type of person on UPF, I guess, and he was responding to it. I'm definitely in the port everything you can to the Switch camp.
Okay.
Mostly because the ports I've played on it have been extremely good.
Yeah.
I played Stardew Valley, Axiom Verge, Enter the Gungeon, Neurovoider, and Crimson Land for the first time on Switch.
Those all sound great, yeah.
And they're almost flawlessly executed. I bought Ironcast, Skyrim, and Darkest Dungeon the second time based on the strength of those ports, and they're also incredibly good. Now I want just about everything to come out on it. I want Salt and Sanctuary most of all. Am I wrong? Are these ports not actually all that good? Do I need to seek professional help for my cultish behavior? What's on your list of must-have ports for the Switch? What do you wish would be ported?
Yeah, I'd love to see Salt too, but just a lot of these games are just like well-suited for that.
Yeah.
And, dude, don't feel ashamed.
The games that
I think where I'm coming from on this is like a lot of those are games you could have played a year or more earlier on other platforms.
I don't have that much of a problem with that stuff because I mean,
if you value the portable nature of the Switch, then I feel like that's the one area where I would see why people would want to see more games on it.
Well, also there's every possibility you just haven't played those games. Like, I've never played Stardew Valley, and if I was going to, I guess I would get the Switch one just because then I could take it with me.
Yeah, it's cool seeing some of these games that I haven't played kind of resurface and go, oh yeah, I would like to play that on the go, or just like in handheld mode.
Sure. The one place where this stuff gets irksome for me is when people get kind of pissy that like I don't know what's the term. I was going to say modern or current gen games, but like games for like PS4 and Xbox One. That are like Monster Hunter.
People are like, I can't believe Monster Hunter World's not coming to the Switch.
Like the developers literally explicitly came out and said like, we built this for the big, powerful consoles. Like it wouldn't be easy to get this on the Switch. Like some people seem to.
You need to understand what that thing is.
Yeah.
and it'll be really perfect for some types of games and some types of ports.
Yeah.
And
like indie games, smaller games, last-gen games, like
totally
the occasional thing like Doom that they can strip down in a way that it fits.
If they're willing to do the work.
Yeah, but some people seem to have maybe some kind of inflated expectations about what the Switch can do.
They need to manage their expectations. I totally get behind wanting to have all kinds of games on my Switch. I love that system to death.
I just kind of look at it as put everything out everywhere if you can.
Yeah, sure,
that'd
be great.
Like why not?
Yeah,
but I mean it's a beefy tablet. Let's be real here. Come on.
Yeah.
Would you say the NVIDIA? You own the NVIDIA Shield TV?
Completely. Yeah. I mean, they're not running the same kind of games. Could it? I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, do you think that might be more powerful than a Switch? I don't know.
Aren't they both
similar?
Tegra, I think?
Yeah, similar Tegra type stuff.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
I haven't really looked into it, but
hard to say.
That's a different architecture.
Yeah.
So that's like
it's similar chips.
Similar chips, but
but it's Android and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Email from Joshua.
I hear those make really good Plex clients.
Oh, totally. Yeah. The Shield TVs, in particular, are pretty powerful. But I've got the tablet.
Right.
They're not going to make those anymore. That's a real bummer. I really like mine.
All right, Joshua says, I'm quite certain you've heard that Vince McMahon is relaunching his XFL football brand with an anticipated release date in 2020. I was wondering if I could get Jeff and or Dan's opinion on the matter. Dan is not here. Jeff is.
I think it's like the most fucking cynical, disgusting thing that they could be doing.
Yeah.
I think you look at it as like, some of it is like opportunistic business type stuff of like, oh, the NFL is down and a little, viewership is down. Maybe we could kind of get in there. And then to hear them say it, they're like, oh, there are a lot of months in the year that there's no football. It's like, I don't know. I think college football is kind of like in there when regular football isn't, right?
Yeah.
Didn't they try and take on the NFL kind of head to head
last time out?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It was definitely like, oh, we're gonna be the fun. We're gonna make good football again. Smash mouth football. All their fucking pre-concussion knowledge football stuff.
Yeah,
and now it's just like this is fucking political ass football.
That's the gross part about it.
This is we don't want players with any arrest record. If you get a DUI, you can't play for us. And you're like, fuck you. Like, what the fucking fuck? And they're like, oh, players will stand for the anthem. Like, fuck the fuck off. Yeah. Like, what, the whole play is this very fucking, I'm not going to say well calculated, but there's some calculation as to I bet we could get some of those people that are frustrated by those protests to watch our brand of football.
Just another fucking opening another front on the culture war.
Fuck off.
Yeah, fuck you. All right, let's move on.
Yeah,
I don't even want to talk
at first
about
I was
that
like,
anymore.
okay, oh yeah, I remember the XS. Well, sure, have fun with that. But now it's like, no.
All right,
get the hell out of here.
Next email. Matt from Charlotte, North Carolina. What's Vlambeer up to? I loved Ridiculous Fishing, and I hear Lufrausers is a hell of a video game. Nuclear Throne made a splash in 2015, but nothing since. What gives?
They took a break apart. The two members of Vlambeer have been working on different things.
Oh, I didn't know there was a legit answer to this. Yeah. I was just going to say, I don't know, judging by Twitter, Rami is traveling too much to make games. I don't know.
Rami's got around to do his thing. Games being made with other teams and stuff like that. On the other side, so it sounds like that they are getting ready to wrap that up and kind of get back together.
Okay.
I think
I didn't know they had addressed that publicly.
Yeah. They've kind of, I think after Nuclear Throne, that long in development, long in early access, I think they did some cleanup work on Ridiculous Fishing to make it 64-bit so it would run on phones.
Half the reason I read this email is because it reminded me that I really like Ridiculous Fishing.
It's a hell of a game.
Yeah.
I think they did some update work on the iOS stuff because everything had to be 64-bit to stay running. And then they put out that book, right? There was that big old Vlambeer book came out, right?
I missed the book.
Anyway,
I saw the pictures from the wedding, which were fantastic.
Yeah. I think that they are about due to wrap up the external projects and maybe kind of get back together here.
Cool. Yeah. I would like to see something else from them. Yeah. Everything they make is different, which is cool. They keep you guessing. It's neat. All right.
I feel like, a lot of games have had a lot of screen shake in the years since Vlambeer kind of became known for some good quality screen shake. But no one's quite doing it the way Vlambeer does it.
Yeah, that's fair. Did Lufrausers ever come out on current consoles? That was just PS3, wasn't it?
I think it was just
and Vita.
PS3 and Vita and PC.
Actually, I want to know now. I have a laptop right in
and
front
Commodore
of me.
64.
Oh, yeah, of course. Wait, is that actually real? That's amazing.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's incredible. Yeah, they should put it out on the Switch. I don't think it came out on the PS4.
I played about an hour and a half of Luftrausers about 2 weeks ago. Went back to it and was like, yeah, this game's fucking awesome. I never did complete every single
I didn't either.
Objective, but I've got like 3 left and it's fucking frustrating. But,
it's a tough game. Peter from Seattle. I follow quite a few meme accounts on Instagram that I was led to by extreme sports highlight and crash video accounts.
You've been using the internet a very good way.
Yeah. As with all meme stuff, you see things getting reposted and stolen off of Twitter all the time, but my friends and I just send them around to each other for a laugh. Recently, all these meme accounts have been posting very specific references to Fortnite to a degree that outweighs just about any other subject matter aside from Tide Pods. My question is, could Epic be paying to get Fortnite memes made and spread around to make people think that the game is more popular than it is?
Gosh.
You think?
Outside of these accounts, I wasn't under the impression that the game is taking the world by storm. Well, I mean, actually, it sounds like the player count is pretty huge, but and it seems weird that I would see tons of Fortnite memes when there are essentially no other references to video games. Are we entering a dark new age of meme-based back-channel marketing?
Did you pay attention to the election?
Yeah, I think we're there.
Like, yes, absolutely. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
If that's where they're doing their marketing spends.
Yeah. Not sure.
It wouldn't be out of the question, I guess, but those would have to be labeled as ads to be legit. Otherwise, the FTC would want to have something to say about it.
I guess they would, right?
And I don't know that Epic would willingly go out there and do this with partners, with potential marketing partners that would not disclose that they are ads.
Yeah.
I don't think they would want to expose themselves that way.
If you brand a meme with some kind of ad-related thing, it kind of reduces its effectiveness, right?
So I'm going to say probably not.
Yeah. I would believe that.
Unless they're labeled as ads, and we have not seen the memes.
Yeah.
So
I don't follow any meme accounts on Instagram. I don't know about you guys, so I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I don't know how they're presented, but
you should follow
they're kind of out there,
I got all the best memes.
Okay. Hot memes.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they get picked up by other accounts, it's not like they're beholden to label it as an ad.
Yeah, I guess not. Not if they're not getting paid. All right, question from Omar. With the upcoming release of Donatello, Raphael, Michelangelo, and Leonardo for Injustice 2, this marks the end of the Injustice 2 Season Pass. But unlike the first Injustice game, we never got Scorpion from Mortal Kombat in here.
Oh, wow.
Did NetherRealm really make a game without Scorpion in it?
Good.
They put Sub-Zero and Raiden in there.
Okay.
So
does that count?
I think so.
Yeah,
it does.
It's Scorpion, man. I mean, don't get me wrong. I was always a Sub-Zero guy.
I mean, Scorpion was in the first. Scorpion was already in it, so it makes sense that they would do different guest characters this time around.
Sure.
I don't think.
Sure. I just like.
You get Raiden versus Superman. That's kind of all you want.
If there is a core character of Mortal Kombat, is it Scorpion, or is it more of an ensemble thing where you can't really pick one out?
I mean, there's a couple. Yeah, I mean, Scorpion
is voiced by Ed Boon. Kind of was classically always referred to as his favorite character.
Yeah, he seemed like the fan favorite, but I mean, again, he was never my favorite. But if I had to guess who was the most popular Mortal Kombat character, it would have to be him.
I would definitely, I mean, he's got a skull. He breathes fire.
That's
It's very easy.
It's
to
really easy
get into Scorpion.
Yeah.
It's extremely easy fatality in the first game. First couple of games.
He says, "Get over here."
He does. He says it so well.
Yeah. He sounds like he really means it.
Man, he really wants you to get over there. He's fucking mad about it. He's like, "Why are you? What are you doing over there?" That's basically what he's saying.
And then when you don't do it, he doubles down. He says, "Come here."
Yeah.
It's just like, all right.
I like Sub-Zero as well.
Yes. They're both good ninjas.
Yeah, they fit.
So
the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah. Email from Matthew.
They're better ninjas than the Ninja Turtles.
Yes, I would agree with that.
One could shoot ice. The other could shoot fire out of his skull head. The turtles are just ninjas.
Still not hearing anything about party dudes.
Ermac is a party dude.
He might be.
He loves
Actually, Ermac is cool but rude, I think, technically.
Too true.
All right.
Rain is...
Question from Matthew. I was wondering what the origins of the word level and stage are for determining different sections of a game. Wikipedia points to Galaxian as one of the first games to have levels, but it never calls them that in the context of the game. Once you clear the screen, the next enemy swarm just loads. Giant Bomb's own wiki has a lot of different types of commonly occurring stages and levels, but not much insight into the etymology of those terms. So I put it to you, why do we call them levels and stages anyway?
Let's just call them all screens.
Screens,
Done with it.
boards.
There were people that definitely called them screens, boards, racks.
Whoa.
Really?
Yeah. I think the game Ripoff would explicitly refer to them as racks.
Yeah.
Well,
I always remember anytime I would hear a kid refer to them as boards, as in that era, I gave them the side eye. I was like, that's not what you call it.
I feel like the people that were using boards a lot were...
They always had some different console than me, or like they were on a different platform.
They were less educated about video games if you were using the term boards.
Or were very well educated in the arcade scene. That was a frequent one that I heard.
The people
clear the ninth board.
Right.
Yeah.
Was there? You think
it died out pretty quick though?
You think there's a lot of overlap?
I think it died out with like home consoles.
Maybe. A lot of overlap between usage of boards and tapes. Maybe.
That's in my head. That's one circle.
Sure.
For sure.
And solved, like you solved a game.
Solved a game.
No,
what does that even mean?
There was like a whole competing like lexicon or vernacular for old video games
Those
that
are
I
the
could not
kids
truck with.
Yeah, I solved it. What?
Yeah. I solved the last board on that tape. You know, like that's like you are from Shelbyville to my video game Springfield,
totally,
basically.
Man.
Like what?
That is some fucking horse shit right there.
I would not hang out with those.
You're playing games in not even PAL. You're playing in some third video standard. CCAM. I don't know.
Cannot do it.
Yeah. I don't know what the actual etymology is, but there's definitely stages, levels. Some patterns were sometimes used, like in the Pac-Man era, because you'd like, oh, here's the third pattern.
Yeah.
You'd have that stuff come up from time to time.
Doesn't Galaga use a stage, right?
Yeah,
but I guess
because Galaga talks about bonus stages,
right.
explicitly.
Sure.
I would think.
Screen one.
Yeah.
I don't know what exactly.
Who knows?
I think that just you saw that stuff work its way into arcade games and a lot of stuff would be Japanese manufacturers using words, English words in their games that sometimes the translations were a little weird.
Yeah.
So you had a lot of stuff like that kind of just floating around. So you'd see stuff like board or rack. Or, well, I don't think Ripoff came out of Japan, but anyway. Point being, I think a lot of that stuff kind of floated out of Japan in some way.
Yeah.
I guess I could maybe see level coming out of early games that involved you like climbing something, like floors of a building or something.
Okay.
How high can you get?
Levels on top of levels.
How high can you try?
Yeah, okay.
Maybe.
Now it's chapters. Don't see that in the arcade though.
Yeah.
Chapter 1.
Aaron from Houston.
Hey.
Why can you use a Sega Genesis controller on an Atari 2600?
You got that.
I bought a
pin little.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I bought a 2600 Junior years ago and realized the ports matched, so I plugged it in, and the D-pad and one of the buttons translated perfectly. This seems so odd. Any ideas?
You could rearrange those cables in there and make everything work, probably.
Yeah, if you wanted to do some soldering, you can hook all kinds of pins up to whatever.
Yeah, I guess so. Huh?
But yeah, I think it's the B button specifically will work.
Any idea why they use the same connector?
They just did. I don't know. I know. No idea.
Those are connectors that are used in other things other than,
Yeah.
Oh, are they?
Right.
It's like it's got a name. It's like a DB15.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Okay. I think I've heard that.
So
those might be 8s. Are those 8s? I forget. Anyway.
But the Atari joysticks did not use every single pin on the connector.
Right.
So it was, you could have a 3-button, a 6, 7-button controller with a 6-button Genesis pad that uses that same DB15 connection.
Old ports. Old standardized ports.
Old ports.
Yeah.
Could you go the other way and plug a 2600 joystick into a Genesis?
I bet you could, but you'd probably only get the B button.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
Play Sonic the Hedgehog that way.
Yep.
Probably to start the game and then switch controllers because you wouldn't have a start button.
Yeah. Oh man, I built a joystick one time that had it was probably like a DB25 in there. So like I had all the buttons mapped to like this block, right? And then they all split off to this like DB25 connector. And then I made like 4 or 5 different like
adapters.
Yeah,
oh, wow.
adapters that like all mapped to that specific connection. So I could plug in a PS2, could plug in a Dreamcast, GameCube, and stuff.
Work?
Yeah, it totally works.
Is DB25 the Atari 5200 connector?
Don't know. But that sounds right.
Is that just the number of pins?
Yeah, essentially. I think so.
Oh, yeah, that just looks like a printer port.
Right.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
It is. I think that is a parallel port, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, totally. Scott has a question. I have a dream I need interpreted. I dreamed I was on a cheap cruise ship I went out my window to the pool area where Dave Lang was laying by the pool. I was happy to see him, but called him Joseph J. Jabroni. I assume because that's his name on Twitter. Oh, that's close enough. He laughed. All throughout the ship, there were snakes, but not like in a bad way. People had them hanging around their necks and stuff, like they were buying some kind of snake package aboard the ship.
Cool.
There were snakes on the floor, and people seemed pretty into them. What does it all mean?
You signed up for something real weird, sounds like. That's not a cruise that I would go on, for sure. Maybe I would hang out with Dave Lang
Does that mean
on a boat.
Dave Lang is in possession of some forbidden knowledge, and you should never take a bite of any apples that he offers you?
That's probably a safe stance to take, no matter what.
Dave Lang is the devil, is what I'm saying.
I don't. That might be a little. That might be a reach.
Maybe a little hard.
That might be a reach.
Maybe, disciple. Maybe.
Sure.
He's just a snake enthusiast. I think.
Yeah,
That's,
sure.
I wouldn't.
He likes reptiles. What can you say?
Yeah.
Right.
Reptile, another good ninja.
That's true.
He's a party guy.
Yeah.
Snakes on a boat. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. I'm not signing up
Can't
for
tell
that.
you.
Throw the snakes over the edge.
Yep.
I do want to do like a party cruise sometime.
Ooh, snake would have a real bad time in the ocean, I bet.
Yeah, probably.
They can swim.
Can they?
I think so.
But not.
I guess some.
They probably couldn't swim forever.
Yeah.
If you're in the middle of the ocean.
I could test that.
That doesn't seem
Maybe.
good.
Slither and surface tension.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't understand nature or science.
They're big worms. They get eaten by a shark or something.
Probably.
You can go fishing for sharks with
fucking
snakes.
Use them as bait.
Yeah, snake bait.
Two more emails?
Cold slither.
Yeah, let's read two more emails real fast. Davis from Syracuse, New York. I was going down a rabbit hole of really old GameSpot video reviews when I found Greg Kasavin's review for Devil May Cry 3, Dante's Awakening.
Okay.
In the review, he says, frankly, were it not for having to review the game, I would have given up, referring to the game's extreme difficulty. My question is this: at any point in your career, were there any games that you were assigned to review that caused you to miss a deadline, pass off to a colleague, or simply give up on completing because of their difficulty? Conversely, are there any games from any time period that you'd refuse to review now, knowing how difficult they are?
I've definitely had a missed deadline with a Monster Hunter game. It's when I want to say, God, which one was it? It's the 3. It was either way. It was like G rank stuff. So, and the save didn't carry over. So it's like I had to start that game from scratch. And like with the G rank stuff, you know, we're talking to like 80 hours in. That's when you start to experience that stuff. And trying to make my managing editor like realize like how much time needed to be put in order to experience that was tough. So yeah, we missed that deadline. It came out like 2 or 3 weeks later or something like that. But I don't think I've ever passed anything off.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, I might have passed something off after playing it for a little bit and being like, man, I don't want
to play it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck this thing.
Yeah, that is a way bigger concern than it being too hard. It's not good. I can't think of any games that are so hard you couldn't finish them, quite frankly.
I'm trying to think of like broken-ass games.
There are certainly hard games out there, but like nothing that I can think of where like you couldn't get around it with enough time.
I know at Game Informer, there's been a couple games
or effort
people were not able to just like beat because it was straight up broken or something.
Yeah, there's bugs. Like the thing that would somewhat frequently concern me when I was reviewing games was just the fact that like you could get stuck and there was no resource.
There's no resource.
Like the game's not out, so there are no facts. Nobody's discussing it online. Like if you get stuck on a puzzle or you can't.
There have been a handful of cases where, like on a reviewer's behalf, I've gone to the publisher and been like, "Hey,
this is a bug.
We're here at this point. Like, is this a bug? Right. What do we? What are we missing here?"
Yeah. That was the one.
Like 3 or 4 times.
That was the one thing that would occasionally worry me. Like generally, you would figure it out. But there would definitely be that period of time where you're like, fuck, man, I have to get through this game and I don't know what to do next.
Yeah.
Last email. Scott from Lexington, Kentucky. This email is entitled, "Is Atari okay? Should somebody check on them?"
No and no.
I don't think we'd get a straight answer out of them. They might try and sell us like a hat or something with speakers in it.
Oh, they got a better opportunity for you.
Really?
I'm sure you saw this email from Atari. This seems sketchy, right? I need a ruling from you all on where this ranks on the speaker hat spectrum. And then he forwarded the email which he received from Atari. Roller Coaster Tycoon on Switch. Become an investor. And then in all caps, unique investment opportunity for the next installment of the Roller Coaster Tycoon franchise. We are excited to share today that Roller Coaster Tycoon has launched an equity-based crowdfunding campaign with Start Engine to to bring a new entry in the acclaimed Roller Coaster Tycoon franchise to the Nintendo Switch.
You have to wonder, did Fig reject them?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
That sounds like what's the start engine? Is that the
it must be some other
developer or like another?
No,
Fig
it sounds
type
like
thing?
another
I think it's a
crowdfunding
platform.
Okay.
This unique limited time investment opportunity allows fans to become investors and bring Roller Coaster Tycoon to the Nintendo Switch. As an investor, you will participate in a revenue share from the game's distribution as soon as it launches.
Nope.
Like this whole thing just sounds like it's being read off of late night TV.
Seriously, yeah.
You're gonna get your roller tokens. You're gonna be mining roller coasters with your computer,
or it's like some kind of multi-level marketing thing or something. Like just the wording on this thing. I'm just like,
that shit don't seem.
I'm not giving.
The minute they're sending out like spam emails that say we've got an investment opportunity for you, you're just like, what?
Yeah, it's like you're Atari. I mean, I don't
know.
I don't know what Atari is these days. I'm not sure which Atari it is.
They're not Atari. They're Atari.
Yeah.
They own the name. They're a holding company.
Yeah, you're people who own the name Atari.
Yeah.
Like you would think you could do better than.
I don't think so.
Maybe not.
Given recent history with what the Atari name has become and what they've attached it to, that fucking asteroids thing that went bust on Steam, that survival game.
That's fair. Maybe this is all they've got left.
It was selling merchandise with the Atari logo on it in a desperate fashion.
Yeah.
I would try one of those hats. I would also wear a fanny pack that had speakers on it.
I had to Google.
They make those.
I had to Google speaker hat because I wasn't sure what he was talking about. But
you were not aware of this fine investment opportunity? Invest in having a speaker in your hat.
But I just Googled it and
it says Blade Runner on it. If you want,
does it say it on there? Or
they
did they just have that in the ad copy?
I think on the back it says there's two versions of the hat, and one is a Blade Runner tie-in.
It's right here on AtariLife.com,
which is their site. That is an official thing.
Yeah,
it's not some Atari fan site.
It says
not Atari Age.
A revolution in audio.
Yeah.
$130 for a hat with speakers in it. Is it Bluetooth?
Yeah.
It must be.
It is, yeah.
They
have a Bluetooth speaker embedded in the brim of a fucking hat.
Yeah.
What has the Atari logo in it?
Here's one with the Atari logo and the name in Japanese.
Uh-huh. I think that might be the Blade Runner
that's
one.
the Blade Runner one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I want that one.
Yeah. Man, I don't know. Do not.
I'm going to say maybe, do not
invest.
Maybe don't invest in Atari.
Yeah. I would tread lightly on that one.
Did Fig turn them down?
If they really want to get a Roller Coaster Tycoon game made on a Switch, they surely can find a way.
So they own the license too, then?
I guess.
Maybe.
I would assume. Unless they're planning to use this money to go out and license it. I don't know.
To put it on a hat.
Dude.
Yeah.
That you can wear.
And then they still have whatever that device, the box.
Oh, the Atari box.
That is still
right. That thing's still coming.
Theory,
no, it's not.
They say it's coming.
Going to exist at some point.
All other things being equal, I thought that thing looked kind of cool just because of the wood paneling.
The look of it was all right.
But the part where it's just a kind of generic Android-based thing.
Is it Android-based or was it PC? I'm
pretty sure
we have to go back and look.
Maybe I'm wrong.
And they were like,
Linux,
people
maybe
to,
it was Linux-based
for it, weren't they? Kind of like an Ouya situation.
Kind of like an Ouya.
Kind of like.
Great.
Put that on the fucking front of the box.
Perfect.
And sell millions.
Yeah.
Oh, it's kind of like an Ouya. I'll take 2.
Yeah. All right.
Hey, that clock app was pretty good.
One to open now, one to leave sealed for when they're worth a lot of money.
Mine's in a baggie that I got from Dan.
Oh, that's right. You bought Dan's Ouya.
No, he just gave it.
Oh, he gave it. Okay, all right. Well, you still paid a price.
I did. Yeah,
it's true.
That took a tax on your soul.
Yeah,
it takes up space.
Spiritual price.
Like holding on to the Ouya. It's like that fucking Brady Bunch episode. You find the fucking Ouya, and then everything just goes bad after that.
Yeah,
a lot of bad luck.
Cursed Ouya.
Yeah. All right, that's it for emails. Bombcast@giantbomb.com. Thanks for listening. I guess we got some stuff going on this week. I don't know. Yeah.
Thanks for talking.
Thank you.
Yeah. We had some.
Yeah. We have a meeting every week where we plan out the week, and I have completely forgotten everything we talked about.
Yeah, we got some stuff.
There's actually, I feel like a bunch of stuff in the works, but
still in a weird spot with Ben being out.
Yeah, Ben sounds like at the end of the week is going to be getting back in here. So
I don't want to push him though.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But
I'm gonna go pick up my family right now from the airport.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah,
cool.
They were supposed to be back a couple days ago, but Griffin got sick. Couldn't fly.
Yeah. That'll happen.
Mm-hmm.
Don't want to fly sick.
No.
I don't want to fly. Period.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
All right. I like going places, but I hate going places.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, like being places but not getting there.
Sure.
Kind of. Yeah, I could get down with that.
If I could just be somewhere.
Yeah, and then if you could instantly be back at your home.
Right.
Without having to travel the other way.
Quantum entanglement.
I would probably go a lot more places. I can get down with that. All right. Thanks for listening. This has been the Giant Bombcast. We'll see you next week.